We'll start
All right.
recording now. So yeah, it looks like it's doing pretty good. It's not picking up any feedback, any audio, reverb type of shit, which was happening earlier. So I guess I can start introducing this, right? You guys ready?
Yeah, let's do
I'm
it, man.
ready.
All right. So here we are, Max Allotment Podcast, episode 25. The return of the comic brewmen. With me,
Hey,
I have
Hey.
the owner and CEO of McFarlane Comics. No, okay.
Oh gosh.
it's
That's
it's
gonna
only
come.
it's only a
Um,
joke from the last time in your previous position where I said you were the manager of all the Samurai comics.
that is
Um,
correct. And
no,
I
but
heard that. I had to hear crap from Mike on that one.
uh, Thomas is here. It's been a while since we recorded. We did an Instagram live about 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. I can't believe it was that long
Yeah.
ago, give or take. But now we're recording an actual episode. So this is Comic Brew Men number, I don't know how many we did, 4 or 5 maybe, something like that.
yeah, something.
And then joining us today also is Sal. Sal's also a fellow comic nerd and he loves beer. So you guys have heard him before. Sal, what's up?
What's up? What's up, guys?
Thomas, what's up?
How you guys doing?
Good, good. So how's everyone doing so far? Talk to me. How's life?
Uh,
Confined?
life's got a bit smaller. Life's definitely gotten smaller. So the working from home thing has been it has been a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot more respect for the parents that stay home all day with the kids because while I have no children, being home and in my house all day is definitely driving me stir crazy. And I'm on the right podcast because I find I'm drinking a lot more. So I know that's completely and utterly accepted here.
Yeah, I've converted my gas money into beer money, so
Mhm.
it's pretty much what's happened for me so far. Sal,
Yeah.
what's new with you? What's going on, brother?
I'm the same, man. Yeah, it's weird still living the COVID life, the sheltered life.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of places have opened up, man. Letting the ponds go first, and we'll see.
That's how you do it.
But yeah, man. Other than that, just living daily life, working from home too. So it's been, like Thomas said, it's been a little weird trying to adjust and working from home, but getting through it, pushing through it. So taking it day by day, man. That's all we can do.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things where, and I think we talked about this like every episode since we started the whole COVID and every episode we recorded. But it's one of those things where you just kind of think about it first, like, damn, it's so awesome to work from home. You don't have to go anywhere. And then for me personally, I'm like, shit, I miss the commute. I miss the drive. I miss getting out my routine. So I hear you guys.
Yeah,
Speaking
I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot easier than it was because I'm working. I manage comic book creators, and none of them are local. They're all over the world. The
Yeah.
ones that we're working with for Spawn books and other books coming out through the McFarlane line and Image. And I'm like, it's not going to be that big of a change because they're all out of. But not being able to go and meet with collaborators in the office or see the people that are working on the toy line or seeing Todd and shoot an idea off of him real quick because now it's like you got to schedule stuff. Everything there's a lot less spontaneity in the hey, what about this? What do you think about this? Or check out this sketch. Wouldn't this be cool if we did this? Now it's like, hey, let's schedule a meeting at 7:30 or 8:30 or whatever, and then it's like everything has to be much more formal.
Yeah.
Where before it was just like you could run into an office and be like, I need this. Is this good?
Yeah.
Give me a thumbs up right now. Yes, we're rolling with it. And now it's like, so I'm looking forward to getting back, like to be safe, but I am looking forward to getting back into the office and being able to kind of work with the other creative components there.
Isn't that the plot of every like zombie movie? Is to let the people go first and see what happens. And,
Oh yeah.
And the second wave, we're like, okay, it's good.
Oh yeah. I'm stealing that from Sal. That was brilliant. I'm not saying nobody can go out. If the pawns go out first, we will. The second line on the chessboard, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
And then
exactly. Test the waters, right?
Make our moves with a little bit more precision.
Just peek through the blinders. Nope, still not good enough. All right. So, Sal, what are you drinking?
I have Moonlust from Anchorage Brewing.
Oh,
I picked
nice.
this up yesterday.
That's the
Yeah,
hibiscus
it's
one, right?
hibiscus. Yeah, and the color you can actually tell if you guys want to kind of take a look at it. You can see the actual color if I get some light in here. But yeah, it's really pinkish, kind of like a grapefruit color. Really,
Yeah.
it's got great taste, man. It's awesome. I think this is. I'm trying to think how many hibiscus IPAs I've had, but this is probably the best one out of all of them I've had. I know I've had a few, but that's pretty good, man. Anchorage never lets me down, or hasn't let me down so far.
I think my review literally said that this is my favorite hibiscus IPA that I've ever had. I've had a lot.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of hibiscus beers, but this is the first. I think that was the first hibiscus IPA that I've had, and it was solid.
yeah, really good, really good.
Thomas, what are you
Yes.
sipping over there, sir?
I failed the beer. It is technically a beer podcast, and I failed the beer podcast today.
It's a drinking podcast. We're just
It's a drinking podcast. All right. Well, then today I am enjoying some 2016 Cabernet Sauvignon from Substance Vineyards out of Washington State. So unlike I do enjoy, as Joey knows, I do enjoy a lot of beer, but surprisingly, I don't have the beer fridge. I don't usually keep a ton on hand. I'll make a beer shop run that'll last me through the weekend or maybe the week, but I don't keep a ton on hand. But I do have a wine fridge that has many bottles that I try to get through. That's more of my go-to.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I remember a conversation you and I had. We were talking about The Crow. And you said, I think you said like once a year you watch The Crow, you bring out the bottle of wine, and you sit down, and that's one of your favorite movies to watch. Just at least watch it once a year. Like everybody has movies that you watch at least once, like to get through the whole year. And that was your wine and movie pairing.
Absolutely. Yeah. My wife traveled quite a bit. Still does, obviously not right at the moment, but traveled quite a bit for work. So that was one of those movies. Not that she dislikes it, but it was just one of those movies that if I'm up late, oh, you know what? This is that time, 11, 12 o'clock at night. I'll grab a bottle of wine and put that on. And I that soundtrack. That was my college years. I mean, that was an important part of my life at the time when that movie came out. So just the visuals to it, the sounds to it, the music to it. So at least once a year, that'll be definitely a pull a bottle of wine out and just sit and veg out and watch that. And I still to this day, if that did not happen to Brandon Lee, I think he would have been a huge star.
Oh yeah, I think to this day he would have been kicking ass. Yeah, I agree. So not to change gears from that, but I am drinking a little Pool Boy Wally from Ren House.
One of my favorite local breweries, without a doubt.
Yeah. So the Wally series has gotten, I don't want to say better because that's not the right word for that, but it's
never been bad. Yeah, for it to say better,
it's gotten it. I don't know how to explain it without saying better. Like I don't know what the word goes with that. But it has gotten better. Like it's something where it was a quote unquote masterpiece, and then they made it better. And they said, hey, let's do this or whatever the hell they did. I don't know. I'm not a brewer, so I don't know what the fuck goes on behind the scenes. But whatever they did, fucking knock it out the park, man. Like the colors on point. The even the head was a little yellow this time around, so like they did something with the hops to give it more color and flavor to it overall.
Nice.
So it was it's phenomenal.
Good. Yeah, I had a really good color. I had one last night. I drank one last night, and the color on it was amazing, man. It's really good. I like it too.
You two are on top of the local releases. I missed out on stuff a lot. Good Boy Wally is still definitely one of my favorite locals of all time. Phenomenal beer.
Yeah, it's a solid IPA. It's a triple too, which is crazy. So all the Wally series are triples. That's one of the things that blows people's mind, especially when I trade this beer or I send it out. This is a triple IPA. They drink it because not obviously, but Ren House doesn't put the ABVs on their cans, which is one of my biggest pet peeves. But I'll let it slide. But when you drink this beer, it's like, oh shit, this is the easy drinking beer. It's like this is an easy IPA to down. What's 10.5%, 10%? Are you fucking serious?
Yes.
When you find out afterwards, like, oh shit, I just drank 3 of these back to back. So, yes. No wonder I'm feeling it.
No wonder I'm already gone. All right, so Snyder Cut is coming, guys. Snyder Cut is coming.
Finally, we did it, guys.
The internet did it. The internet bullied or whatever the hell happened. So
Don't correct yourself. Don't correct yourself. That's exactly what
it is. It is. Hey, listen, if it worked for Sonic, it worked for the Snyder Cut. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, it definitely did, man. I think the fans had a lot of input, man.
It did. And you know what? I'm not going to say that I'm a Zack Snyder apologist. I don't dislike him at all.
Yeah.
I'm not a super fan. I don't dislike his movies. But I will certainly say I'm a comic book movie apologist, because I think there are comic book movies that there are comic book properties that I think are very difficult to transition to live action, because there's things in comics. I've worked in comics almost my whole life. There's things in comics that look good on a page, and you go, man, that'd be a cool movie. But if they do it like it is on that page, you're gonna go, what the hell is this? This is horrible. And there's been some horrible comic book movies, but I will always err on the side of it wasn't that bad. And I think one of the few people I enjoyed Man of Steel. I got people hated the snapping of Zod's neck and stuff like that, but this isn't the comics. It's going to happen like that. Yeah. I enjoyed Batman, Superman quite a bit. I like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I thought I thought in a modern day performance, Lex Luthor isn't an industrialist. Lex Luthor is a douchey tech genius that is manipulating the world with intelligence. That's what it is. Just like I thought. Let's be honest, in a modern day world, the Joker, Jared Leto's Joker, is what's going to exist today. He's going to be a failed SoundCloud rapper that is just becoming an American terrorist against the world. That is what the Joker is going to be, not the clown prince of crime. But I think it's a dangerous precedent that studios buckled. And it was years of pressure, let's be honest. But they eventually buckled. But I'm excited to see what's going to come out of it, without a doubt.
I do like, and I'm going to give Sal a moment to chime in real quick. I do like the fact that here are two, and I joked around about Sonic. Here are two instances so far where the people have won. The internet, the people have won, right? So for those who haven't seen the original Sonic rendition or whatever you want to call it, it looked like shit. Right, so it's like
it did, yeah. It really did.
It's a fake character to begin with. So why are you trying to make it look real? Let's start with that. Secondly, it's not what people want. They want, regardless of how cheesy it looks or whatever it is, they want the real Sonic, right? So $5 million later, apparently, to reshoot the whole thing, Sonic came to life as the original Sonic. Now, $20 million later, with a Snyder Cut, because apparently there's some reshoots, some changes to actually.
I'm hearing over 30 at this point.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I think it's over 30.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There we go.
And I think I was reading an article, and I think they said that they weren't allowing any reshoots, or they weren't allowing the original cast to come back to do additional reshoots. They gave them all the money and said, "Here, this is what it's going to cost for the visual wise to get it all put together." Because I think he shot most of it. That's what it was. He never put it all together. So I think that's what the budget is, from what I understand. But
it's all
he wanted to bring in the cast. He wanted to shoot more scenes, but I think that's where they drew the line. They're like, all right, look, we already caved already. We already buckled, like you said. Don't push it. Don't push it, pretty much.
So I want to take a step back, and we've all been craving. I mean, I can't speak for Thomas, but I know I spoke to Sal about this, and Sal's been craving this Snyder Cut. We've all been craving for this. So I'm going to give Sal an opportunity first to talk. What was good and what was bad of the original version of the Justice League in 2018? 18, right? 17? 18? Whatever it was.
18?
Joss
17
Whedon.
Or 18.
Joss Whedon. The Joss Whedon, whatever that's was.
I think that's what the problem was, man. You can definitely tell. And when I watched it, I was super psyched when I heard it was coming out. And then obviously the stuff that happened with Snyder and his family, and that stuff I get, all right, it happened after the post production and everything. So cool, I understand. But to have someone come in and just you can completely tell where he put his fingers and put his hands in the jar and just kind of did his own thing pretty much. And I remember going to the movie theater and I was super psyched and I saw it. And then I just I came out of there and my expectations when I sat in my seat, I was super psyched. And then when I left, I was just like, well, what happened? What happened? But you can and I rewatched it when they announced it. I think a week before they had announced that the Snyder Cut was coming. And then I watched it again afterwards, and I was just like, man, I can't wait. I can't wait for it to come out. There was the scene, I think that scene with the family. I don't know if they were Russian or what part of the country they were in. That was, I think, yeah, something like that, right? But that scene you could definitely tell was put in there for like comic relief. There was a little part with Martha and Lois when they're talking about, I think she calls her thirsty or something. You can definitely tell that was his part. And it's just like, I thought, to me, he was trying a little too hard to step away from Snyder's, like, kind of, everyone says, the darkness that he brought to it. Try to bring it into like that more Marvel comic-y kind of like comedy, family comedy type of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's where I drew the line, because I was a big fan of Man of Steel. I loved Batman versus Superman, the extended cut though. And when I saw, the director's cut or whatever, I figured, okay, they're not going to drop the ball with Justice League, because obviously the extra, I think it was 30 minutes or 45 minutes on Batman versus Superman made that movie. That's the only version I watched now. I only watched the original once in theaters, and after that, once the actual director's or extended cut came out, it's the only one I've seen ever since, because it puts the story together so good. So good, without those parts of like, whoa, what's happening here? Like, okay, why is Lois here? What's Jimmy Olsen doing over here? It's all these different little things that when you first saw the movie, it's like, what? This doesn't make any sense. But when you see the extended cut, it's like, why did they drop the ball? I would have sat the extra 45 minutes in there, dude.
Absolutely.
Endgame was what, 3 hours?
So
I wouldn't have had a problem sitting in there.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that comparison, right? You jumped ahead.
I want to still talk about that.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
So Sal, you mentioned a lot of things you didn't like about it, as far as the Justice League movie. I would say JLA. I keep like muscle memory.
Dude.
So the Justice League movie, you say you didn't like. What did you like? What did you walk away saying, at least this was good, at least this was all right? What was it that stuck to you?
One of the things I did like a lot was the Flash. I think the Flash, the way they portrayed him a little bit. I was still a little iffy on Ezra Miller. Once I saw it a couple more times, I was like, all right, this guy, he's a good Flash, There was that. Some of the scenes with Wonder Woman, I think was actually really good. Where she, like that very beginning part, where she comes in and she's whooping ass to those, I think they were like terrorists or whatever.
Yep. The bank
scene, like that.
Whatever that was.
Really good. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't know what that was, but yeah, that was pretty good. Alfred, I think Alfred in that movie was actually pretty awesome too. I forgot the guy, Jeremy Irons, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons. Yeah.
I wish we got more Jeremy Irons Alfred.
Yeah, definitely, because I loved him in BVS, and he was awesome in Justice League too. His little side comments was like classic Alfred to me, like in the comics. He's dropping those little zingers in there to Bruce, and it's fucking awesome. So there's those little things that I did like, but like as I watch it and I keep rewatching, and I kept rewatching it, and I was like, man, I didn't feel satisfied. I should say I didn't feel satisfied enough to where it was like this. I always thought it afterwards. It's like, man, what could have been with the Snyder Cut? Like if they let this come out, like. They dropped the ball big time. So I was, like I said, I was super happy when they announced it. Yeah,
that's a great way of saying it. You enjoyed it, but you weren't satisfied by it.
Exactly. Yeah, because I felt like there could have been more. Like, and that's the thing. It's like, man, this could have been so much better. It could have been such a great thing, and they just dropped the ball.
I just wanted more Superman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so same questions, right, Thomas? Good and bad. What were the good? What were the bad?
Like I said, I know unpopular opinion, but man, I love Jesse Eisenberg as Luthor in that. I thought there was not enough Superman in that. I like Henry Cavil, and I like his banter with Clark. I mean, between Clark and Bruce. I like that a lot. I thought they have a good personality. I think that works well together. That is my favorite film version of Batman, is Ben Affleck's Batman.
Oh yeah.
I think the suit looks phenomenal. I think the way that they have him fighting and moving is phenomenal, because it's just like the Batman Arkham Asylum video game series.
Yeah.
He fights like that. I'm kind of bummed that they started this out with him being older Batman.
I can see that.
They had to pushed that because they were really doing that Dark Knight Returns-esque type thing. I wish, because he's not that old. He could have gotten a couple of more years out of him.
Yeah.
But I liked the dynamic, and I agree with you. Ezra Miller was not sold on him when I first saw it. When they showed that little bit in Batman versus Superman at the end, because he had like, I think at that point he still had like a ponytail and this like really scruffy beard. I'm like, he looks like a hippie. This is not Barry Allen. And obviously he cleaned up for it.
Yeah.
But I like his kind of manic ADHD because his brain's constantly firing like that as well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I never thought about that. That's a good way to look at it.
And Jason Momoa, love him, man. I love
Aquaman.
Him as an actor. I've gotten to interview him before. He's a cool dude. I think he's a great role in Aquaman, and I think having him in that movie, especially the scene when they're fighting at the monument.
Yeah.
And everyone,
he's like freaking out. Yeah.
Because Superman lands, and I think both Wonder Woman, Batman, and Aquaman, I think all have the same opinion of, oh, I could take him. and it just goes to hell immediately. So I think there's positives, but yeah, I agree with you now. I hadn't looked at it like that way, so I think it's a great analogy. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't satisfied, and I've never been a pro Snyder Cut thing, because of most of the time, and maybe it's the career path I've chosen, I'm on the side of creators. This is what they chose to produce. You don't get to tell me what the ending of my novel is going to be, because it's my story. And I looked at it as, even though it's a huge corporation owned by $1 billion corporation, I looked at it as, this was DC's vision. I'm not saying it was a great vision, but this is what they chose to put out. Because now you've got people going, release the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Release the Revenge of the Sith cut of the Phantom Menace.
Don't jump ahead of me.
All these people are now, they feel entitled. All the fans of these properties feel entitled, where it's like, I'm the easy critic. There are very few movies or TV shows that I'm going to go, I hated it. I'll always be like, yeah, it was okay. So I'm willing to just be like, hey, that wasn't a home run. That's okay. Not every Marvel movie was a home run, but if you judge the entirety of it, if you judge from Iron Man to Endgame, it's amazing content.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I think that if DC would have just stayed the course, they could have had a library that would be considered amazing.
And I think, like what you said, a lot of the fan backlash too, it's kind of 50-50, because Man of Steel got a lot of bad backlash, and I think that kind of swayed Warner Brothers or DC to kind of like, all right, like we thought this was a good idea, but maybe let's lighten it up a little bit. Maybe that's what happened to BVS, where they cut out a lot of the stuff and shortened it out. And, ultimately that's maybe what happened with Justice League. So I think it's like 50-50 at the same time too, because they'll listen to, like, of course, like the diehards like us that will say something like, we'll release the Snyder Cut, and everybody that was down for that movement. But at the same time, they'll hear like some little negative things, and enough people chatter about some little negative things. Oh, it was too dark. I didn't like that Superman killed somebody. And, it's like, okay, yeah, he's got a point. You guys, let's lighten it up. Let's not go this dark path. And maybe let's cut this out. And that's where you start like chopping stuff up. And like you said, if they would have stayed the course, I think ultimately we would have had like an awesome trilogy.
I have to say, go ahead.
I was going to say, we very likely might now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have to say that and I'm glad that we're all having this conversation, right? We're talking about Man of Steel all the way to Justice League, right? So we're not saying Justice League alone. We're saying that there is a path that Snyder chose. And in this path, it was to say, here's the transition, right? And through that, obviously, David Ayer had his Suicide Squad. I feel like I'm missing something. Or was that it?
No, that was it for the...
So it was Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, and then Justice League, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So that was a great transition, in my opinion. That was a good way to progress the storyline. And it was one of those things where the stories felt like a comic, right? Where it wasn't the movies, I should say. The movies felt like a comic. So it wasn't so much as, hey, this is a Superman only universe, right? So for example, like when we talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, obviously we start with Iron Man. This is Iron Man's quote unquote universe, because Iron Man started it, and because of Iron Man, there's this whole arc now of movies that came out. and everything revolves some way or another around Iron Man. Even the fucking Spider-Man movies revolve around Iron Man.
Yep.
Right. So
even Incredible Hulk did too at the end. Remember,
yeah,
Iron Man came.
Yeah. He came in and he said, "Hey, I'm forming a team." All that bullshit. Yeah, agreed. Good point. Thanks for bringing that back to reminding me of that shit. But even the Hulk, we didn't get any more. We got the Thomas that loves Hulk.
The Ruffalo
Hulk. Thomas loves Ruffalo Hulk. You get the bitch Hulk. But anyway, moving forward. This is DC. So we went from, hey, here's Superman starting it off, but we have another movie, Batman vs Superman, which is introducing everybody else, but it's not a Superman sequel, but it continues the Superman story, which is what I liked, right? And again, reading comics for as long as I have and you guys have, that a lot of these stories tie in together that are not connected directly. And they'll even have a little I don't know what that's called, and forgive me.
A little asterisk.
Yeah, it's a reference comic, blah blah blah.
The page of this book, this
it'll say, hey, this is if you want to know the backstory behind this conversation, go to this comic, right? So that's great. I love that it had that element to it. And when I got to Justice League, I was like, okay, it's gonna tie everything together. Everything's gonna come to everything's gonna kind of make sense. I like the beginning. The beginning, I don't know if that was edited or if that was an original Snyder thing or whatnot, but that felt very normal, in my opinion. The beginning of the movie where he finds the
parademon.
Parademon. He finds a parademon. He says, "Oh, he senses your fear," type of shit. Blah blah blah. That felt very natural. Like, okay, you're going with the comics.
I love that.
Yeah,
and they made it look like the Tim Burton version of Gotham.
Yes.
Gotham,
which I
that's
thought was a fun nod.
Exactly. And Ace Chemicals. You had what was that called? The Janus.
You said Janus Steelworks.
Ace Chemicals.
Ace Chemicals in the background. Yeah.
It was a whole bunch of like Easter eggs in that first 5 minutes. Not even like it wasn't even 10 minutes into the movie. It was great, and I was like, okay, you got my attention. Let's go. And as I watched it more and more, to your points, it felt like if this movie came out before Avengers, it would be a hit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But because Avengers did it first, they were like, oh, we're here already. We kind of did this line, we did this scene, and we did this whatever. It killed it. And so I can understand where the Warner Brothers producers the executives, they want to say, yeah, let's make this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that, whatever. But as now, going back to what you said, I forget who said it, the whole Endgame was 3 hours long or whatever it is. Now it's like, shit, I'm kicking myself in the ass right now because I could have had that Endgame-esque or even Infinity War-esque closing or situation, but now because I bit off more than I can chew or whatever it was, now I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. They had an opportunity to beat Marvel at the long distance game, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Because a lot of the Marvel movies, 2.5 hours max?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think around that time, yeah.
So, and then Endgame was, Infinity War and Endgame were about 3.5 hours, I think, right? Give or take?
Yeah.
And so, DC or Warner Brothers had an opportunity to say, hey, we're going to beat you. We're going to show you the full story of everything. And then we're going to make it 4 hours long, 3.5 hours long, or whatever it is. Which is why, to Sal's point earlier, we only watch the Ultimate Cut. I think it's called the Ultimate Cut, right?
Yeah, the Ultimate Cut, yeah.
Of Batman vs Superman. We only want it. Now we want to see the 4 hour long Snyder Cut. I like the fact that they recognize their mistakes. By they, I mean Warner Brothers.
You guys are changing my opinion on this whole thing.
Yes,
you really are. You're making very good, valid points because, like you said, maybe it was DC not just buckling to fans. Maybe it was them saying, "Look, our universe right now. If they're looking at their universe, they were planning on doing a Marvel-esque universe, and then all this shit hit the fan, and now they're kind of like, well." the same universe, but we're not necessarily going to acknowledge the other stuff in Aquaman 2 or Wonder Woman 2 or the other stuff. And maybe this is their way of trying to write it. Their problem that I foresee is, now we saw this right before about an hour before we started recording, was Henry Cavill now back in talks to come back.
I'm not there yet, bro. You're jumping ahead. I'm not even there.
What do you do about Robert Pattinson as Batman and Ben Affleck as Batman?
We'll get to that. Slow down.
Universe. I'm very passionate about this,
bro. You're killing my whole segment.
Sorry,
you're killing my.
I'm going to ask Sal a question, and we're going to go back. What were your thoughts on Jesse Eisenberg?
I loved his cockiness. The Jolly Rancher and the mouth scene was a little too extra for me, but I get what they were trying to deliver. I get what they were trying to get across. Hey, do what you want. I'm invincible because I'm rich and I'm smart as fuck.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what, a Lex Luthor of this age would be.
He was the anti Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was as smart as Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But he was a dick.
So Tony Stark.
Because he hadn't learned his lesson. Tony Stark was a douche.
He was Tony Stark without a conscience, because Tony Stark had a conscience, but he absolutely had no conscience. So he was just, like you said, a total douche.
What happened if Lex Luthor got kidnapped, thrown in a cave? It would have been a little different.
Yeah, exactly.
He would have been a different person, but he wasn't. He stayed entitled, he stayed rich, and became racist because here was somebody
towards aliens.
Well, we don't know.
Let's be clear.
But he became speciest because it was somebody that could do something that he couldn't. So he felt entitled. I should be able to do that. Why does he get to do that and I don't?
You know what's interesting is that I think they capture that, and I'm gonna spoil some of the Arrowverse stuff for people out there. I think they captured that in the crossover universe when they brought back Clark from Smallville.
Yes.
When he said he gave up his powers for his family. And I see you drinking that Timbo Slice.
I am. Yeah, Timbo Slice.
Sorry, I got drawn. Oh, there goes Tim, because I know the guy. Anyway, so when I forget the guy's name from 16 Candles and
John Cryer,
that guy.
Let's just say also John Cryer, greatest Lex Luthor.
Yes,
period.
no, agreed, 100%.
Oh yeah.
And I saw a reference that he was in Superman 3, and I was like, oh shit.
4.
Oh, 2, 4,
You
whatever.
Superman 4.
One of the Christopher Reeves one.
Yeah,
there was like 5,000 of them. But yes, he was in that movie. But he brought it back, and when they brought back Smallville Clark, and he's like, you really gave this shit up, and you could have been a god. Like, what the hell? And he said, yeah, it is what it is. Like, screw it. This is my family. This is what comes first. I like that. Back to your point. I like that, that they said, hey, we can feed off of this, and they made it into the TV show. So that was pretty cool for me. I do like the fact that there was always this jealousy aspect of Lex Luthor versus, Superman, where it's like kind of underlying. It's not 100% like said, but it's one of those things where you can tell that's the reason for his actions. He hates Superman because he can do things that he can't do. He hates Superman because, he has all these powers and he chooses to be quote unquote a Boy Scout when he can be a god amongst, everybody else. And I don't know how much, Thomas, about the Injustice series, but I know Sal follows it. There was a change, I believe, if I remember serving correctly, where Lex goes, oh shit, now I know why he didn't go that far with his powers, because he could be, this crazy ruler or whatever the hell it is. And it was good to see that. It's good to see that, full circle, I guess you could say, is what I'm trying to say. That one, it started in the movies, and then two, it ended up in the TV show. But it's one of those things where, regardless of what platform or what media it happens, that's something they both go back and forth with.
Yeah, I always love the dynamic that Lex Luthor made it his mission to prove that no matter Superman, all these powers, like you're a god, I'm gonna beat you. I will find a way to beat you, and I am gonna beat you. I think one of my favorite stories between their dynamic was Red Sun.
I was just gonna reference that, and I knew you were gonna say that.
His whole life, dude, his whole life, just trying to find little ways. And he's like, he's playing the chess. He's playing the fucking chess game. 10 years later, he'll move a piece. Like, all right, and then finally, checkmate. And I think that dynamic is like one of the best. I think as far as a comic book line or storyline was in the end. And if anybody hasn't seen it, obviously spoiler alert, but where it turns out that Superman is become a descendant of Lex Luthor. And it kind of like throws it back. We get that story of Krypton and how it blew up, but technically it was Earth. It was, he was a descendant from Lex Luthor, the smartest man on the world, because he beat Superman.
That is one of those books that it's old. It's 10 or 15 years old at this point. That is an evergreen read. If you are a comic book fan and you came into the comic book store when I was managing a comic book store, what do I need to get as a gift? That is easily in the top 5 books.
Yeah.
Such a great book, such a great storyline.
Yeah. Do you know? You don't need to know history. Do you know who Superman is?
That's enough. Yeah, here you go.
Start to finish story, one of the greatest Superman stories of all time, and he's the villain for the majority of it.
Yeah, he is. That's.
I mean, he essentially.
Comrade Batman. How great is Comrade Batman?
Oh yeah, that's going too far. It's one of my favorite Batmans. Oh yeah, exactly.
He's got the hat too.
He's got the little hat with the ears side and the
ear flaps. Dude, he has the ear flaps. No, but yeah, I love Lex Luthor in Justice League. Not Justice League. I'm sorry, but Batman versus Superman. I thought he was great. His whole, I think Eisenberg, the way that he took on the role, I think was. It was a lot of Alexander Luthor, and I think that's who he was, right? It was Alexander Luthor in the actual movie, because he kept talking about how his dad did all this and all this other stuff. He kind of referenced it, but I thought he embodied it amazingly, all the way up until the end, where the very end scene where he's in prison and Batman comes to see him. But throughout that whole movie, that was one of the good things that I liked about that movie too, was the Lex Luthor. I know he got a lot of backlash, but to me, I thought he did a great job. He was phenomenal in that movie. I loved it. The way that he portrayed the character was great.
I mean, what's his name? I forget oh my god, I'm drawing blanks. I should have been prepared. But the guy who played Lex Luthor in the first Superman movie, Christopher Reeves.
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman, yes. There
you go.
If Gene Hackman can pull off the whole realtor bullshit.
I know. People
like, come on.
Your childhood brings back a perfect view of that memory. I remember in Batman versus Superman, the scene when he goes to save Martha, or maybe it was before saving Martha. Anyway, but he's got the bat jet and he's like just lighting up the warehouse with machine gun fire and stuff like that. People are like, Batman doesn't kill him. Like, have you watched Tim Burton's Batman? At some point, he drives the Batmobile in for the sole purpose of delivering an explosive device
while people are working there.
An entire chemical company that the thugs, that wasn't even their hideout. They just happened to be there at the time. He murdered the entire gang, and he was smart enough to not be in the car while he did it. It wasn't like, oh no, I need to escape. He sent the car in on remote just to deliver the bomb.
Hold up. That is literally
Batman does kill.
Now that we're having this conversation, I'm gonna nerd out really hard right now, and that was exactly the argument in Clerks about the stormtroopers and the fucking the Death Star blowing up.
That they're just contractors.
Yeah, the contractors. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. They were like, they didn't know what they were doing. They just went in there and got a job.
That's hilarious. Man.
They were just like
one of my favorite parts.
Custodial services.
Yeah.
How many stormtroopers you know how to install a water main?
Yeah, but that's it. So I always felt like the argument, and again, I get it. I grew up watching the Christopher Reeve movies. I mean, obviously he did not kill in those movies, but the Tim Burton Batmans, they push the limit on what Batman does.
Yeah.
But for people to call back and harken back to that stuff, it's like you have to admit you have to separate the movies from the comics. But even in the comics, Batman has allowed people to die, but the movies and the comics have to be a different thing. So Batman causing the death of a few people due to explosive rounds coming from the black back plane. It's if it needs that.
Oh, you cut out.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
Is it?
There he
I'm
goes.
back.
There he goes.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Apparently, the internet
Bro,
does not want
it's
me
like, what's he
to
saying?
voice the truth.
Marvel's listening, guys.
Yeah, apparently I'm being
They hack your feed, man.
I think Todd's a little mad that you called me the CEO of
Before we move on, one of my favorite scenes in Batman versus Superman Back to Lex Luthor was when I forgot her name, but the senator, when she's giving that speech in the courtroom.
The piss and tea.
And the grandma's peach tea, and it's the piss in the cup, and she kind of turns it and looks at it, and she's like, "Oh shit!" That's like one of my favorite parts in that whole movie, man. It's so great.
And the look on Henry Cavill's face.
Yes.
Oh, when he realizes,
great emote there. Just that there's nothing I can do to save these people.
Nope.
As fast as I am, the utter sorrow from that phenomenal scene. You're absolutely
yeah,
right.
when he's in the flames after the bomb blew up, and he's like, why? Like, you can just tell, the emotion on his face in that scene, he embodied that, man. He embodied that whole scene.
I caused this.
Yeah,
This is
I played into this.
Why didn't I see it? Yeah,
I played into this. I could have stopped this. I could have. I wasn't thinking ahead, whereas Lex was, and that's one of the things where you can't help but I don't want to say adore Lex, but you have to say, shit, that was good.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get at your actual, you want to make somebody realize, hey, you can't fuck with me, regardless how strong you are. That's the way to do it.
I think I don't know if it was Batman or Lex in Red Sun, where it's like, with all the powers you have in the world, you underestimated the power of the human mind.
I think that was Red Sun.
Yeah, that was Red Sun. I can't remember if it was Batman or Lex who said it in there. Yeah,
that was a scene where he turned on
from that book too, where he tells him, well, you have all this power in the world, and you can stop all these things, but one thing you underestimated was the power of the human mind. So.
And that was a scene right before he flipped on, or right after, he flipped on the red sun switch, the lights, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Oh yeah, you're strong because of the yellow UV rays, but red UV rays weaken you or make you normal. Guess what? Take that, bro." So we've talked a lot about how the Snyder Cut is the beacon of light, along with Shazam and but also the Joker. I think we can all agree.
How do you guys feel
right?
about that?
What was that?
The Ayer cut that they're I think it got approved now, right? Or I'm not sure. I have to look back into it.
Everybody's winning. Everybody's going back to it now. So the Ayer cut was like one of those, hey, Snyder cut this, let's do the Ayer cut. But then Ayer cut was really small. But now that Snyder cut got approved, Ayer cut's becoming a now trending situation.
Yeah, I think it's moving now. It's got a lot of more motion behind it now.
I didn't dislike Suicide Squad.
I didn't either. That's the thing. My only problem with that was the fact that they did cut out a lot of the Joker scenes. We only saw, I think, 5 minutes tops. That whole movie. Yeah, we saw Joker in total about 5 minutes,
give or take.
But yeah, give or take around that time. But I was reading some of the things online. Like there was an extended scene with him and Common. I think he plays Tattoo Man or somebody. Where he convinces him to kill him, like himself, pretty much. So there was a lot of Joker stuff that was cut out, and that was the only thing. Like I liked the movie. Don't get me wrong. I didn't dislike the movie, like you said. I didn't hate it. It was enjoyable. I liked it. My only thing was there should have been a lot more Joker, because the way they pushed the movie was there was going to be a lot more Joker.
Yeah,
and I feel like that was kind of to me, as a fan, as an actor fan, Jared Leto is one of my favorite actors. I think every role that he's been in, I've loved, and he's killed every fucking role that he's ever been. He's fucking phenomenal. Did you like
an American Psycho?
Yeah, he was.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
He was an incredible victim. in American Psycho.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say.
In Fight Club, he was just a beautiful face that I wanted to destroy.
Yeah, exactly. He's such a great, like in every role that I've seen him play, like he does the best. And like I was just a little disappointed in that he didn't get his shine. I don't know. He felt the same way. Obviously, we saw all the stuff that he was putting out.
Let's save the Morbius talk for another episode, please. There's a whole lot of Morbius stuff we can get to.
I wonder what you guys think about this, because obviously the Joker's been on film many times. You've got the original stuff from the early serials, Cesar Romero, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, who most people are going to say, oh, the greatest Joker of all time. I enjoyed all of them. Jared Leto's Joker is the first one, though, that if I was just a normal dude in that situation, I would be terrified of.
Yeah,
he's the first one that's scary.
If I met him in somewhere, like in some random club, if I saw him and he came up to me, I would be terrified of the guy.
Like the scene when the prison guard is gambling and they take him to the back room. I loved that scene because it establishes, without saying anything, how scary the Joker is, because he walks in behind him and he just puts his hand on his shoulder and he's like, oh God. And like, you just absolute fear. And I felt like he was the only scary Joker. The scene with Common is great. Common, I think, is an incredible actor. I want to see more stuff.
Yeah.
And you can see, like, he's what, 100 pounds more than Jared Leto?
Yeah. You can see in his eyes, on his face. Yeah, he's like, whoa, get off me, girl. Like, no.
This was you, man. Like, there's fear there. And I thought that was the first time I saw that portrayal. Batman Returns Joker was great, but you're not afraid of him. He's just the anarchist. He's just the crazy loon that you don't know what to do. He's a guy with a gun, or maybe he's a guy with a knife, but you're not scared. Jared Leto's character, I felt he was the one that personified the most evil and terrifying of the Jokers.
I think Jared Leto's Joker, to your point, and you went way off topic, but okay, fuck it, let's do it.
I apologize.
It's all right.
I'm about half a bottle in. So.
If Todd can deal with it, I can deal with it. Let's go. Sorry. Jared Leto Joker, I think he had time to marinate, quote unquote. And what I mean by that is Heath Ledger Joker showed up on the scene. Jack Nicholson Joker showed up on the scene, right? Just randomly, overnight. Like, boom, I'm now the Joker. Whereas Jared Leto's Joker, he had time to marinate, build a reputation, and actually be a force to be reckoned with, like, time and time again. Which is why a lot of the shit that he has, the tattoos, the fucked up teeth, everything else, is something that a lot of the moviegoers don't appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where, David Ayer did a good job, but he also, I don't know what extra stuff will lead to this, but he also left out some stuff as well for the new moviegoers. And maybe this movie wasn't meant for new moviegoers or new movie comic people, whatever you want to call it.
This is a deep cut movie. This was a comic book Wednesday, picking up your new books, comic book fan movie.
Yeah.
My wife enjoyed it simply because I got to go, this is who this person is and this is why they're cool. And then I felt that this had some really inspired casting as well.
But Deadshot had more backstory. If Joker was given the same quote unquote backstory as Deadshot was, I think it would have had a bigger effect.
Absolutely could have.
That was my only gripe. Is like they pushed the Joker a lot so much in the marketing, and then when you finally saw the movie, it's like, okay, like where is he? Like that was my expectation. Like I went in there looking for the Joker. Like I was like, don't get me wrong. I love the Suicide Squad and I love Harley Quinn and Will Smith as Deadshot, but I'm a big Joker fan first of all. So I was going in there ready to see a lot of Joker, and then when there was just so little of it, I was just like, man, you guys just like pushed him this whole time, and now it's like you kind of robbed me, baby.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. And don't get me wrong, I love the movie, and I like I said, I wasn't disappointed in it. It was just that was my only thing. It's like they didn't give him justice. obviously they cut out a lot of his stuff, but the way that they had pushed that movie was, hey, Joker's in this movie, come see this movie, Joker's in here. Yep. And when you finally get there, it's like,
it was a little bait and switch. Yeah, and then you hear all the behind the scenes stuff that Jared Leto's kind of insane and he's mailing dead chickens to people and all kinds of
that's why I was excited, because
I didn't even hear that right now. I didn't know that.
But
hear about that? Look at the
Ledger was also a method actor, and a lot, like you said, a lot of people revere his Joker as being the best ever, but he was a great method actor as well. So to be able to the fact that they cut out Leto all his scenes, but knowing that he kind of had that same mentality as Ledger, like the way that they both approach acting and the way they both approach getting in those roles, I felt like it could have been so great. Like, but obviously we didn't get it. Hopefully we will get it, and hopefully there's enough push on it that they release all those extra scenes. But it's funny. Somebody, I think it was my brother-in-law. He says he told me we were talking about this a couple days ago, and he's like, "Yeah, man, the music video that they had for Suicide Squad had a lot more Joker than the actual movie." And I was like, "You're right. I totally forgot about that." I was like, "You're fucking right. Like, it had way more Joker than the actual movie."
Yeah.
So, AT&T, who now, I think I read this correctly, owns Warner Brothers, and is the reason why we're getting the Snyder Cut. They're giving the fans what they want. Obviously, they said, hey, we're doing the HBO Max thing, which I already signed up for. The moment they said that Snyder Cut was coming to HBO Max, even though it's a year away from now, I'll go fuck. I'm signing up for it.
Yeah.
Should Disney, Marvel, should they be worried? So we referenced Marvel a few times. We did reference their cinematic universe and what Endgame and Infinity War. Well, before you say no, there's no more Thanos.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying the future of Marvel.
Yes. So should they be worried? Is there a character or an arc that they can kind of like, okay, we had this whole arc going on because of Thanos from Phase 1, whatever the fuck it is, and now Marvel or AT&T instead is now saying, hey, what do you guys want? You want the Snyder Cut? Boom, you got the Snyder Cut. And then with Shazam introducing Superman at the very end. Spoiler alert. And Joker being
his face, because now Cavill's back. He's back.
Stop jumping ahead, man. Wait.
I want the Cavill cut of Shazam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where
That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. But let's go back. So
they'll digitally add it on there.
Joker did great. Shazam did great. Should Marvel be worried? Is Marvel have anything to lose when it comes down to what AT&T, WB, DC is giving? All these fucking acronyms is giving to the fans.
I think that I think you can't. I think it's disingenuous to the comic book fans to include Joker in that. It was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
They slapped the title on a remake of Taxi Driver.
The Wayne murder was in there. The Wayne's murder was in there.
I'm not saying it's not. It was a great movie. I enjoyed it.
I agree, yeah.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that.
Phoenix's performance was phenomenal. There's no way that's ever going to fit into a DC cinematic universe.
Yeah. I totally agree. If you take the title, it is Taxi Driver. If you take away the title, it's Taxi Driver. That's the movie. The movie is Taxi Driver.
Travis Bickle was a different character, in my opinion. He wasn't imagining things. It was very similar, but I don't know if we can say it's exactly the same thing.
No, it's not. I'm not saying it's exactly.
Is it? Are there elements of it?
The premise, the elements and the premise of the whole,
that's never going to be part of DC's superhero movies. That's all.
Canon, I guess you should say.
I'm not worried about canon. I'm just saying they're superhero movies. So no, I would say no. I mean, like, let's just relegate that to the Netflix series. Like, they're not necessarily going to do any crossovers. I think that we're going to see Marvel, who's on a huge high right now. I think we're going to see them stumble a little bit. I think they felt that they've got enough momentum. They're going to start doing some experimental stuff that personally I'm excited to see, because I'm that deep dive nerd. I'm excited for Shang-Chi because he's an incredibly cool character. Is the general public ready for Shang-Chi? I don't know. They weren't ready for Iron Fist, so I don't know that they're ready for Shang-Chi. But that being said, I think that they have 20 movies of stability with now that they've been able to cull out
Who's they?
Marvel.
Okay.
Because they've been able to put all these movies out, and there's been some that have been huge hits. There's been some that have been not my favorite of the series, but they've been able to cull out them. So they've got these, and Marvel did this with comics back in the mid 2000s, where they had a bunch of creators that were just high off of books. Matt Fraction and Brian Michael Bendis and Jonathan Hickman. These guys were like, they were calling them the architects of Marvel, because even though they weren't writing all the books, they had the creative vision to shape the Marvel universe. But now you've got guys like Taika Waititi, you've got guys like James Gunn. Even though he is doing Suicide Squad, he's always going to be known for Guardians of the Galaxy. So they've got these guys that are going to be able to help kind of steer that ship. They're not necessarily going to be the directors of these movies, but they're going to be able to be the think tank that's going to do it. So I think Marvel's going to have a couple of missteps with some oddball stuff. But the second they decide to really reintroduce the X-Men, really reintroduce Fantastic Four, game over.
That's what I was going to get to. Yeah,
I think DC has some really, really cool characters, concepts, and movies, but they have yet to really embrace the singular universe. Because I think with a big corporation like AT&T or Warner Brothers looking over them, they're like, oh, Justice League didn't do good. New Batman. Batman now. New Batman. Well, now how does that fit? How does your Joker movie fit? Where Marvel's just like, nope, it's all the same. Our TV shows on different networks, it's all the same universe, and we're gonna bite the bullet, even if it sucks. We're gonna keep pushing that course, and eventually they created something really, really impressive. I think DC is going that route, especially if they're willing to listen to fans and do the Snyder Cut, potentially do the Ayer Cut. I think they're realizing this is the way to go, but they're gonna have a few years to have to catch up. Because don't get me wrong, I'm super excited. We talked about this last time I was on. I'm super excited for Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Yeah,
that's not the same Batman that's coming out in your Snyder Cut. And if that does incredibly balls to the walls, incredible, and they get 5 billion subscribers for HBO Max and make a ton of money on that, are they going to go back to Ben Affleck and say, screw you, Robert Pattinson? It's just going to make them look weird again, because they keep dropping the ball before everything settles.
I don't know. Hold on. Just so we're clear, that's not, the Joker was a one-time thing, right?
I'm not talking about Joker.
I'm saying, but the Robert Pattinson Batman could be the same thing. It could be a one-shot type of thing.
But would Marvel do this one-shot Iron Man movie?
Well, yeah. So hold on. So before Sal, I know you're gonna need to buy Sal. Give me a second. The one thing that I like about the Arrowverse and the what was it? The Crisis Inverse. Yes. One thing they did was they showed, hey, we have multiple universes that tie in. And they made that very clear. So it could be, hey, Ben Affleck and Pattinson are two different Batmans.
Absolutely.
They're not the same.
You saw who showed up on that, right?
Which
you
one?
saw your friend Ezra Miller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was on there.
They have established that. I understand.
They've intertwined it already. Yeah, they said that.
They introduced the Michael Keaton's Batman into that universe as well.
Yeah, absolutely, totally fine, and I get that. But if you're gonna, then don't say DCEU.
That's my thing. Is the thing is the DCEU, like I said, they decided at the very beginning, and I think this is what fucked them up at the end. And right now, where we're at now, is that they saw Marvel and they're like, we don't want that. We want to be different, and we're gonna be different, and that's why we got what we got. But now that I think like they've seen the success, it's like, okay, maybe we dropped the ball, maybe we fucked up, maybe we were. So like, maybe let's kind of try to get back into that. How can we do it? Well, hey, let's release the Snyder Cut. Maybe we'll get, like you said, maybe we'll get enough money. We'll make enough money where we can bring back Ben Affleck back, where we can bring back. Obviously, they did already. They brought back Cavill. They can
slow down, bro. Slow down.
And I feel like they tried so hard to not be Marvel at this point that they want to be it so bad, that they want that same universe. Yeah. That's why we got Crisis, and that's why they kind of meshed those whole worlds together. That's why we got Ezra Miller's Flash in there. because they're trying to establish that now. But at the beginning, they dropped the ball because they had that part. They could have done it all. They could have meshed it all together, but they wanted so hard not to be Marvel. They didn't want to be compared. They didn't want to be the same. They didn't want fans saying, "Oh, you guys are just following the blueprint that Marvel laid out." And I think they tried so hard to get away from that, and then ultimately they realized, shit, like, you know, we kicked ourselves in our own asses because now we're kind of going to that. We're kind of going to do that. So I think that's kind of like where they're
time for them to strike. This is a great time. Endgame's the hype for Endgame is wearing off now. You've got new movies that have been pushed back. Now's the time for them to strike. If they come out strong, this is going to be huge. This could be huge for DC. I want them to succeed. Don't get me wrong, because again, I think that the movies that are coming out for Marvel, I think that we're going to see some people kind of be like, I'm over Marvel. I want something different. They feel similar. There's going to be some that are huge successes. When Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out, it's going to be massive.
That's going to be the next Thor comes out. That's
Thor, Love and Thunder. Oh, Jane Thorne. You're going to have Beta Ray Bill maybe, and it's going to be huge. But we might see some of these smaller ones that people go, I don't know. I don't know about that. We'll see the TV shows do. But I think that's going to help. That'll help maintain that. I think the Loki show is going to do really well. WandaVision, maybe we'll see how it goes. But that's supposed to also tie in to Doctor Strange and stuff like that. Just give me a goddamn Moon Knight TV show, man. That's all, man.
Give me the mutant.
That's where you were going with this, right? That's where you.
The only reason I'm on here is to say I want Moon Knight. I think we're going to get him. They're pushing him hardcore in Marvel right now.
So Moon Knight is a great transition into not really my next topic, but I want to discuss this. DC is quote unquote owning the rated R scene.
Yeah.
Is that the path they're going to win? Is that the way they're going to take over?
Which is weird because, again, coming from the retailer background, most people assume comic books. DC's the family-friendly stuff. Batman doesn't kill. Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman rides a seahorse. Super Friends. Marvel's got mutants, and they're evil, and there's all kinds of. And Wolverine bangs. How many of the X-women is he banged? So a lot of readers, a lot of old school dads that come in would come into the store would be more comfortable buying their kids the DC books because there's the assumption, there's the allure that DC books are the G-rated stuff, and that the Marvel books for the most part are the more adult readers. And it seems odd because you're exactly right. DC's movies that have been successful seem to gear in the exact opposite way. That their Suicide Squad made a lot of money. Their Harley Quinn movie. These R-rated movies. I mean, yes, there's Deadpool. I get that.
No. But even the Bat family itself is R-rated. Aside from Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Damian Wayne, Jason Todd. All right, those two alone define rated R.
Look at DC Titans. Do you guys watch Titans on the DC
Yeah,
app?
but I'm saying, but those two alone in the comics. Let's take forget the TV show. Look at the comics. Those two alone define rated R, 100%.
Yes, agreed.
You know what I mean?
Damian Wayne's a little 10-year-old who's a little badass who's just he's going around killing people.
And then you bring them into a universe that has to be quote unquote realistic. And I keep saying quote unquote. I gotta stop. But they need to be realistic. Yeah, you're gonna have a Jason Todd that's gonna be, let's kill this motherfucker. Let's or even Dick Grayson who says fuck Batman. Off of Teen Titans or Titans, whatever name of the show was.
Yeah.
There's so many things that DC is winning with the more adult content, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That if they continue that, that's their lane. That's the lane they need to stay in.
I would like to see both companies embrace the fact that you can have a Captain America, the first Avengers movie, which is G-rated, but my favorite movie. I'm a Captain America mark.
That's one of my favorite movies too.
I love Chris Evans as Captain America. I love Haley Atwell in that movie. I love Tommy Lee Jones in that movie. I love that movie. Totally fun, family friendly. But then on the same token, you can do Netflix's Daredevil, Netflix's Punisher, Netflix's Jessica Jones, and do dark. I would love for both companies to be able to appreciate the fact that we can have a shared universe, that these are the R-rated movies / TV shows for mom and dad to watch. And these are our PG movies and TV shows and animated series that your kids get to watch with you. And I think that there's been a long time where it's like, no, you can't do it. It's one or the other. And I think with the success of Deadpool, with this, I realize they've all been canceled and pulled, but you could argue that the Netflix shows, Punisher and Daredevil specifically, were a success.
Daredevil was one of my favorite. Yeah, Netflix
I heard rumors that he's coming back and one of
there's a bunch of rumors that he's going to be showing up in the new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
as Peter's lawyer.
That would be epic. That would be so epic.
Charlie Cox? Is that his name?
Charlie Cox, yes. But as weird as it sounds, my favorite out of all of those, and I'm an Iron Fist fan, and I appreciate that Iron Fist season 1 was horrible. They got the wrong. Here's my real quick thing. I know I hate we go off topic all the time. Here's my problem with it.
Fucking Thomas.
Season 1 and season 2 of Iron Fist.
I've seen both. Yeah,
I refuse to watch Iron Fist or Jessica Jones.
It's good.
Well, maybe Sal can appreciate my critique. They got the wrong fight choreographer. In season 1, they did like John Wick, very close quarters, very like quick cut fight scenes. That's not kung fu. I want Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, long, drawn out, beautiful, flowing fight scenes. Season 2 did way better. But out of all of those, my favorite was without a doubt Luke Cage.
Oh, season 1?
Perfect actor,
season 1.
Perfect soundtrack, perfect look of Manhattan. Daredevil was great. Punisher was great. But Luke Cage, boy, man, I loved both seasons of that.
So
yeah, I thought
you mentioned I should have watched the second season. I have yet to watch it. I have been very, and the only reason why is because I was so mad. Spoiler alert: when Cottonmouth died, because he was literally the perfect villain. He was the Marvel Lex Luthor.
He was great.
He was the Marvel Lex Luthor, is what it was.
But you learn to and it's not that I get you're right, but you learn to love to hate Black Mariah. And I'm not saying it because Alfred Woodward was black. That's her character name in the comics. But Black Mariah was the perfect villain going forward because you love to hate her. She just was she was so hateable. You just wanted to punch her in the face every time she was on the screen.
I can't. Was it Viola Davis? Is that who played her? Was that her name? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Viola Davis. Excuse me.
Right? Oh, she's such a great actress, man. Yeah, I hated it watching that season. I just hated her. Every time she was on the screen, I was like, I'm gonna choke her. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's
here at the Max Allotment Podcast, we don't endorse hitting any women, choking any women.
No,
please. This is figuratively speaking.
Fictional characters.
And we're saying it because her performance was so good.
So good, yeah. She was so great that you wanted it. You couldn't resist hating her. Every time she popped on the screen, I was just like, oh, my blood started boiling, and I was like, I hate her so much. It's just like, yeah, man. She bodied that role, man. Yeah, she did a great job.
All right, so let's circle back. Let's kind of bring it back, right? Can AT&T, Warner Brothers, give Marvel, with this current situation, with the Snyder Cut wave, the writing, can they give them any real concerns?
I was going to say no before, but thinking going to the future, I think yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they're willing to listen directly to fans like that, then yes, I think so. I think then you're going to see stuff. Now, I hate the fact that they're doing the whole thing. Like I just found out, like I'm a big fan of Doom Patrol. That's moving to DC. So it's like now I got to get the DC Max thing. It's like I already bought the DC. The HBO Max thing. It's like I specifically have a subscription to the DC Direct app.
No, DC Doom Patrol is coming out on HBO Max. I just saw that.
Yeah. But it was on because I have it too.
Yeah.
I have the DC the Direct DC Universe app.
Am I wrong in thinking are they pulling it from the DC Direct app?
From what
It's
I
super
understand,
convenient.
I think eventually it's going to absorb into HBO Max. But for right now, from what I understand, that the DC Universe app is still its own. I'm still paying for it. I still have it.
Yeah,
Just
so
because
do I.
I've been watching Static Shock on there. Like I've been watching all these old cartoons, man, on there that I fucking love. And I
Why
can't
has he
find it
not?
anywhere else. But
Why is Static Shock not showing up on Black Lightning?
oh
Excuse
man,
me.
they need to put them on there
I'm not
ASAP.
saying that should just be here's the show with all the minorities, but come on, it's
drop a little hint and then give him his own show because Static Shock deserves his own show. Like he has enough of a following to where he can get his own show. But yeah, I have both of the apps, and I don't. From what I hear, eventually it might absorb into it. From what I understand, but as of right now, they're two standalone apps. But a lot of the stuff that's on there, yeah. And DC Max actually has a lot more stuff that the DC Universe doesn't have. They have a lot of the other. I was browsing through the some of the DC section itself, and they have a lot of the actual movies. Like they have the Lego Batman, they have the first Wonder Woman, they have a lot of the animated ones that I would think that the DC Universe app would have, but they don't. But it's on here, so it's like it's kind of the same. Eventually, if it does get absorbed, I do see myself canceling that, but I still have them both for right now.
All right,
but,
I'm gonna take a second. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna take a second because I have to pee. I am making a timestamp of right now what's happening. So do what you got to do. We'll come back in 2 minutes.
I'm gonna do the same. Actually, I'll be right back.
Yeah. For me. But so this is a nice unwinding time to sit and shoot the shit with some good nerds.
So coming back, we had a little break. Dreamy Draw. Wait, where's it at? Dreamy Draw from Rent House.
Hey, is that the original or?
No, hell no, bro. Come on. What do you think
I was about to say, is that the original?
This is maybe 3 weeks old.
Oh, okay.
Give or take. Yeah.
I love the fact that some of the breweries just stick to their guns and they produce the same style. You can tell a Rent House label for the most part.
Oh yeah.
Pueblo Vita has great labels. Almanac beer has great labels. And then you look at the beer and go, that shit looks horrible. Why does anyone I hate their labels. It makes me not want to drink that beer.
Hey,
you know whose labels that you're talking about that? You know whose labels I don't like? Tombstones. They have great beer.
No. I love the simplicity. I love it.
Plain, dude.
I love it.
It's just plain. I don't like it.
That's one
thing.
I
can get like your staples, like I can get it. Like your 1 or 2 beers, like they can have that label, but come on, switch it up a little bit for me.
No, yeah, I love the simplicity. I love the basics. I love the we're gonna fucking keep it. Here's a rye IPA. Here's all the hops. Here's all the hops triple.
Maybe
Here's
it's
all the hops
when I
double.
get tipsy and I go in there trying to find a new beer, and I had that one.
Didn't I give you that Brett IPA?
Yes.
And then you were like,
it was funky as fuck.
We took a trip down to Tombstone, and on the way back, I'm like, I gotta stop by this brewery, man. They've got the greatest beers. And I'm like, and I just rolled in there on on a Friday. I'm like, so what do you got? What do you got? And he's like, oh, we don't have anything right now. I just sent everything up to Phoenix. He's like, I think I got some bottles of 2 different Brett IPAs. I'm like, that sounds brilliant. He goes, the labels are crooked. I'm like, that's cool, man. I love your beers. They're I forgot what it was. Son of Earp. Man, that shit's so good.
So Wyatt of Earp? No, is it Son of Wyatt? Son of Wyatt? Son of Earp?
Yeah, Son of Wyatt or something like that. So I got 2 bottles of 2 different Brett IPAs, and I took one to a party that my wife was having with some work people. And because I heard that I'd never met them, and I heard one of the guys was a beer guy, and he was just like, oh no, I like Coronas and stuff. And I'm like, oh, you're not gonna like this at all. And so he didn't even touch it. And me and one of his friends tried it. And he's like, oh, I'm totally a beer guy. And we're drinking it. And like we both got halfway through, we're both like, and we didn't know each other. And I'm like, yo, this is some funky shit. And he's like, I'm not really into this. I'm like, okay, don't worry, let's drain it. So then I gave Joey the other one. And I'm like, let me know how you think about that. And you sat in there for a little bit. And then finally one day you're like, yo, that was fucked up.
What's funny is that I opened that. I can't remember if it was my brother-in-law or somebody else, but I opened it with somebody who drinks beer, and I'm famously known for if the beer tastes like shit, I'm gonna dump it. and I tried to fight through it, and no, it wasn't
It's
working
like
out.
no.
I was like, no, it's not happening. I'm like, I'm good. I love
was
Tombstone with all my heart. To be honest with you, but that was one that I'm like, no, it's a no for me, bro.
Dude, I haven't met a single person that I was a yes for. But hey, you know what? Let them experiment. There's nothing's gonna be perfect 100% of the time.
So now going back to being a beer-ish podcast, I have to say beer-ish, but so Thomas, you agree with the drain pour mentality? Is that really where you're at right now?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not gonna force myself to drink shit. Life is too short to drink shit I don't like. I got.
It's
like I
funny.
said,
Your new.
I've got a wine fridge full of really good wine that I know I'm gonna like. So if I crack some weird obscuro beer trade tall boy that's nasty and I don't want to open up another one, I'm gonna pour it and I'll grab a Mourvedre, which you know who makes a really good wine? Stephen Amell, aka the Green Arrow.
I heard about that. Him
makes
and
wine, seriously?
him and what's his name? Him and Jesse
Giggle?
Eisenberg, right? No,
Oh.
what's the other guy? Michael Rosenberg. Michael Rosenberg.
Well,
Oh shit!
they've put out special editions, yes. So Stephen, it took me 3 years to get onto his wine list because he does not sell in stores. It's only direct sales to wine club members. So we put on 3 years later, we finally get on there because they had to up their production. But yeah, he's done a couple of wines with all like a bunch of the different cast members from Arrow, as well as Tom Welling.
Yep.
And Michael Eisenberg. He did one of the most amazing reds that I had with Jason Momoa called Dirtbag Red. Because Jason Momoa famously is obviously much like our host here, a workout guy, but he famously drinks nothing, but he does drink red wine and Guinness because Guinness is notoriously low in calories for what it is. And he likes red wine. So he had a red wine which sells out every time they reproduce it. Sells out instantly because it was amazing. But Stephen Amell, now that he's retired from Arrow, he's probably still going to take an acting role here and there. But he owns Knocking Point Vineyards.
I just so real quick, Stephen
Casey
Amell,
Jones.
No, hold on.
Yeah,
he was in the movie. That's already done. That's not happening anymore. But he was in.
You don't know that.
I know that. He was in a movie that I saw on Netflix this past weekend called Codename 8. Whatever.
I have it on my list. I haven't seen it yet. Is it good?
The main guy, that's his cousin.
I figured they were related.
Okay.
He was the original Firestorm from Flash.
Yes. No wonder he looked familiar. Yes.
Yeah.
Is it Robbie Amell?
Robbie Amell.
Yeah.
Okay. No wonder he looked familiar. I was like, where did I know this guy from?
They actually put
Yeah,
out
he
a
was
wine.
the first Firestorm.
They
Yeah.
actually put out a red wine called Code 8 and Chill.
Oh shit! Dope as fuck.
For drinking during that. Yeah, so that was surprising because that got made as a short probably 3 years ago. They just shot it as a short film. It was like 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
And because Stephen Amell then got popular and Robbie Amell took some other roles, they pushed it. They shopped it around, and eventually Netflix was like, well, we're going to turn it into an actual movie. And then they expanded the whole thing. And it was actually surprisingly good.
It reminds me a lot of like
as like the dick bad guy.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of what was that movie with and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody by saying this, Justin Timberlake, and he's like poor as fuck, but he got all this, the Time movie.
Alpha Dog.
Huh?
Oh, the Time movie. Oh gosh, I know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Where time is money.
You have to you buy time. Time is the money.
Yeah.
You
And that was,
I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
That's what it reminded me of, because there was elements of like, you could only do so much, and the main character is broke as fuck, and he can't use his powers and all this shit. There were certain things that reminded me of that. It wasn't 100%, but I do like the fact that superheroes were outlawed. And that was.
I haven't watched it yet. I might watch it.
Yeah, it's pretty
good.
good.
Around to it, so
I watched it this weekend. It's pretty
awesome.
good. Netflix, not to boost my whatever, but Netflix now has it on Ultra 4K, and I have an Ultra 4K TV now, so I'm like, yeah, I'm watching this shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I watched it. I'm like, okay, it's pretty good.
It was not bad at all. I like Robbie Amell. I like Stephen Amell. I've been a huge fan. We got to meet him years ago at Phoenix Comic Con, and he was super gracious to me and my wife. And
Nice.
he's a cool guy. So yeah, so we're on his wine club. So we get bottles all the time, and like he's done stuff with again.
You see how we went from wine to movies? By the way, just throwing it out there.
You
We're all
watch
over the
Archer?
place.
Do you watch Archer?
Archer, yeah.
I've heard about it. I haven't watched it.
Okay, so you know the actress Aisha Tyler.
Yeah.
She did a wine with him called Night Ender, and the whole line of the wine is like, you've already had the date. Now she's invited you back to her place.
Oh,
This is the wine she pulls out. It's called Night Ender. And, I got like a lot of bottles of that because it's really, really good. But yeah, he's super into wine, and
I'm going to buy a bottle. First of all, I have a stout that you and I have to drink, Thomas. Not to discredit you, Sal, in any way, but because it deals with specifically, it's Mr. Softy ice cream.
Yes.
So you and I have to drink that. 1, 2. I have a red wine that is the only red wine that I drink ever.
Really?
And I have to buy a bottle, and you and I have to drink it and talk. And chit chat.
You tell me what it is. I'll buy a bottle too. What is it?
It is Sandeman Ruby Port.
Oh, okay. So you're a port drinker.
Bro, so okay, again, sidetrack from all the comic shit that we were talking about earlier. Now we're going deep diving into liquor.
This is a beer alcohol podcast too. So,
Hold on.
Let me.
Sal, are you a wine drinker?
No, actually no.
You'll love this.
I've only had,
so port
I've only had
wine
a couple.
Port wine to wine guys is like barrel aged stout to beer guys.
Okay.
So let me tell you.
Hell
so
yeah.
I have never in my life been a wine guy. Never in my life. Living back east, when I was living in Connecticut, my neighbors were Brazilian. And every year for Christmas, they'll bring me a bottle of whiskey. You know, Crown Royal, some Jack Daniels, basic shit, right? Or, Johnny Walker. And one year, they brought me this bottle. And, slight asshole that I am, I'm looking at it like, oh, thank you.
Thanks,
like,
wine,
what do I do with this? I'll put it in the fridge. I'll drink it in 20 years, right? So my brother came over for New Year's Eve that same year. And in Connecticut at the time, everything's controlled by the government. So you couldn't go and just pick up beer or liquor or whenever you wanted. You had to buy it by a certain time, and if it was closed, you're fucked. So that's exactly what happened, right? So 12 o'clock hit, 9 o'clock hit, whatever time it was. And I'm like, hey, bro, all I have is this bottle of wine that my neighbors gave me. You want to drink it? And he's like, fuck it. Let's just pour it up. So what I do? Pour it up. Dude, I took the first sip of that, and let me tell you, my mind was blown.
Port is a very, very special thing.
Let me tell you. Let me tell the listeners and Sal what this is about. It's a red wine that's aged in brandy barrels.
Oh shit!
Exactly. And so when you drink it, you taste more of the brandy. Yeah, I'm fucking up. You taste more of the brandy than you do the wine. And so it's like, oh, this isn't really wine. This is fucking cognac or whatever the hell I'm drinking. This is amazing. And so after that, I bought like maybe 10 bottles of this wine after that because of how good it was. And once in a while, if I want to get drunk by myself and get fucked up, that's the stuff I drink because it's so easy.
Porter wines? Porter wine?
It's a port.
Port.
So it's a red wine.
Wine.
Yep, it's a red wine.
Wine.
So go ahead, explain it.
Yeah, it's a fortified wine. Like I said, it's aged in liquor barrels, so it's strong. It's usually drunk, kind of like not in a big glass. It's like an after dinner drink. Would you like a glass of port? And it's usually served in like a small brandy glass.
Oh, okay.
Because it's strong. because it's fortified with additional alcohol.
So, way to make me feel like shit. I've been drinking it out of the bottle since the first time I had it.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm alone. Chug.
Because there's I'm gonna say this, and my wife's probably listening to it right now. There's nothing like a wine drunk. You could be drunk on beer, you could be drunk on liquor or something. A wine drunk, that's heavy.
Let's do a wine episode.
That's heavy, baby.
So let's do a whole wine episode. That's it.
Yeah,
Hey, and I'm a virgin to the wine, so it'd be great. You guys can introduce me to all this shit, and I'll just get wasted.
My man, don't ever admit you're a virgin to anything.
I'm a wine virgin. Let's not get shit fucked up.
You pop my cherry, fam. You pop my cherry, bro. You stop. No.
So I will pick up. I know exactly what you're talking about. I will pick up a bottle. So for the next time I'm on, we will have a Sandeman port wine. That's a great, and that's a very famous label and logo.
Yeah.
They sell that Sandeman port wine of the dude in the cloak with the big hat.
It's very V for Vendetta-ish too.
Yeah.
To tie it back to comics.
I got one of my favorite things I ever had. So growing up on Long Island, you're an East Coast guy. There's a vineyard out on Long Island, which most people don't put Long Island and wine
At
together.
vineyards, yeah.
They put Long Island and Amy Fisher together. But there's vineyards on the North Shore of Long Island. There's one called Duck Walk, and they put out. They have a sister vineyard called Pindar, and it's only sold in New York. It's a blueberry port wine. So it's a port wine flavored, grapes, the brandy, but they throw in blueberries and they just let it sit
in the barrel or in the whatever it is.
In the barrel.
Okay.
And so we did a tasting at the Duck Walk Vineyard, and we went through. It starts at White's, 12 different wines throughout the night, and it ended with that one. And the guy goes, he's pouring, and he goes, I don't even like to drink this alone. So what I do is you pour a couple of shots and you take really good vanilla ice cream and you just pour it over the vanilla ice cream.
You need to stop talking right now. Everything you say, just stop.
Yeah. So
back to comics.
I can only get it when I go back to visit my family in New York. Every liquor store in New York. It's not like here. They don't sell like a lot of like stuff like that in the grocery stores. Maybe it's changed, but it used to be you have to go to a liquor store.
Yeah.
And just get that. But we'd always get literally like 4 or 5 bottles of that and put that in luggage and get that back here. But we still have it. And that's the thing I give as gifts. So we will hook you guys
How
up.
was it with the ice cream? That's interesting. How was it with the ice cream?
It's insane. Like I said, I still to this day, I've been living out here 22 years. I still give that as gifts.
That's awesome.
It just sits in my fridge and we got an event. We got someoe's birthday or something. I'll grab one of those blueberry port wine from Duck Walk Vineyard. You got to get really good like Breyers vanilla or Haagen-Dazs vanilla. Poured over, and it's just insane. I'm gonna hook you guys up.
So
hell yeah.
All right. So now that you got me thinking, right now that we're talking about wine and we've gotten so far away from comics, and beer for that matter. We definitely need to do a wine episode and maybe a separate episode of mead. But I definitely want to do the two. But I also want to do a coffee episode.
I'm a coffee guy too.
So I love coffee.
Coffee is one thing that I would love to sit down and shoot the shit about. Like just try different types of coffees. And just
what is your favorite method of making coffee?
Ninja Cafe, bro.
I grab my own beans.
You know what I mean? Like I just throw the shit in Ninja Cafe and it fucking makes it amazing.
Okay.
You not see what's her name? Vita Guerrera. Oh, not Vita Guerrera. What's her name? I forget her name. Throwback, right?
You know what you're talking about,
bro.
What's her name?
I like Chemex. Have you ever used the Chemex?
No.
It's like a glass hourglass.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah. You
gotta pour it around. I like that. And
that's right.
Yeah, and mocha pot. It's like the heavy duty industrial aluminum They look really hardcore. They're about that tall.
So you got like the long spout. Is that the one with like the long spout?
Well, that's the pourer,
teapot, right?
But a mocha
Oh.
pot, you unscrew it and you pack the coffee and you screw it
Oh,
together.
so in Spanish, that's called a greca.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what he's talking about.
I know it's about, yes.
One of my best friends, a local artist named Yvette Arteaga. Her family is from Cuba.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
why the
I
greca.
have a mocha pot, and I've always made coffee. She's like, well, they make Cuban coffee in it, which is super strong. And what they do is they take the mocha pot, they pack it with espresso, usually Bustelo.
Yeah.
But then they also put in like 2 tablespoons.
That's you, buddy. Bustelo.
That's
That's it right there.
And
The
they put
greca.
2 tablespoons of sugar
Shout out Star
in with
Guido.
the coffee. What is that called?
It's a greca.
A greca. Okay.
I don't know if it's called that in
I don't know. That's not the coffee anymore.
Yeah, some dude. Anyway, I was saying no. It's definitely exactly what you're saying. I know what you're talking about, and that's the old school. So the old school way of making coffee. Now we're diverging way from beer and everything else.
Off of, yeah.
So there is this thing called it looks like a sock. I forget the name of it. Long story short, you literally put the coffee, like ground coffee, into it, and then you pour hot water through it right into your cup. Excuse me. And
sounds amazing.
And what it gives you that strong. What is that called? It's a. I'm gonna kill me thinking about it. It looks like a sock, and that's the best way to describe it. So you think about a clean sock, right? Before you start getting into your mind of like a sweaty ass sock and everything else, a clean sock. You throw grounded coffee into there. You pour hot water through it into a cup, and that's your coffee.
Fair enough.
And that's one of my favorite ways of making coffee. Just real basic, real simple. Coffee, hot water, straight into a cup. No, that's it. No frills or nothing. Perfect.
So that's like a Chemex. It's a filter in the top of the thing.
Yeah.
You weigh out the coffee, you put it in, you heat your water, and you just pour it over and pour it into the thing, and I pour it in my cup. So now let me tell you about my recipe for spaghetti carbonara.
Where are you going with this?
We're diverting so much. I was going to turn this into a cooking.
Somehow this was Zack Snyder. This was a Zack Snyder's cut.
Over here, man.
Yo, you got El Segundo?
I did, bro.
Yo, you dick.
Up, man.
Did you get?
I had the other one too.
Did you get the Stone Cold one?
Did you get it?
I did, yeah. It's right here. I was gonna drink it right now, but it's not cold enough, so I'm gonna put it in my little fridge.
So that Broken Skull IPA is probably one of my favorite West Coast IPAs of all time.
I've never had it, and I'm so stoked to have it.
So fucking solid.
Skull. Or no, Broken Skull.
You like a West Coast IPA?
Shh.
Because
shit, it's on. Yeah, don't edit this out.
Because if I go to your Instagram, all I see are memes.
Oh man, my Wi-Fi is cutting out. Oh man, I'm gonna have to
and hazy IPAs are where's that? West Side.
That should be the title of this podcast. Joe's favorite West Coast IPA.
Chill. Zack Snyder cut gets me more likes. Okay, so chill.
No, trust me. You liking the West Coast will get you more likes.
Fuck West Coast IPAs. Broken Skull all day.
We're going to get back to nerd stuff, but I got to ask both of you guys. What's your in Phoenix? What's your favorite bottle shop in Phoenix? Where do you go? Not the brewery specifically.
Oh, okay.
But bottle shops?
Yeah.
King's is my favorite. I love King's.
See,
King's.
Can we talk about?
King's, I don't know.
Can we talk about the troublesome aspect of King's?
No.
Okay. No. It's your show.
It depends where you want to go with this. Like, so I've heard stories. I've heard non-stories. I've heard bad stories or good stories. I've personally, Mickey and I were cool. I don't have any problems with Mickey. I haven't heard anything that's substantial to give me a reason to.
And I'm happy for that.
And that's my thing.
When I was
I've never had any problems there. I didn't know there was any issues there. Like, I love the place.
Some stupid comments on some Facebook shit. That's
okay.
Fair enough.
No, every time that I've gone, I've had a blast. Every time that I've been there, like, I go in there and When they used to be open, for the tap room was open to go drink.
Yeah.
I used to love just going in there. If I'm in the area, like that's where I would go just to go have a drink. Maybe go pick up some beers and pick up some beer,
like
some bottles and shit.
Yep.
Wandering Tortoise is good.
And when I was in, I used to work out in Chandler. What's the beer stop out in Chandler?
Oh, one stop, gas stop, one stop.
Dude, that place is legit.
The gas station.
That's the gas station one.
The gas station one?
Yeah,
I've been there. Yeah,
I've not seen a better selection anywhere. Better than King's, but again, it's in like East.
It's way out there. Yeah, you have to go way out there. Yeah, I used to have a buddy who lived. There's like a little community right over across the street over from there. Yeah.
So basically,
go out there and get some beer before we went over there. Yeah.
So basically, you frequent New Mexico.
Yeah, if I took 10 steps further, I'd be in Apache Junction.
Yeah, seriously.
But that dude, the best selection I've ever had of hard to find, ridiculously rare, awesome stuff. But
Theodore is right down the street from my house, so I love that place.
Phoenix, I swing by Wandering Tortoise. That's
Wandering
Tortoise is for me. Ground Control because it's my side of town. Tap Savvy is another one.
Ground Control I love just for the
I've never been there. I need to go there.
You need to get your this weekend. Let's plan it out, bro.
Yeah, I'm down.
Casual Pint on Saturday.
Oh, Casual Pint is cool, dude.
Casual Pint is hit or miss for me because it's not really privately owned. It's
it's a franchise though. He owns it.
Yeah, I met the owner. The first time that I went there, the owner came up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, how are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm good, man." And I didn't know he was the owner until he left. And then somebody, I guess it was the people that I went to the one on, what is it, Arcadia on 16th Street.
Oh, and, the one in by
right before Camelback. It's right under like an apartment complex.
Right.
And I guess one of the people that lived there, he's like, "Hey, man, that's the owner, right?" I was like, "Dude, he seemed like a cool ass dude." Yeah, he's just like, I thought he was just a bartender. He's a cool ass guy. No, he just came up to me like really casual, and he's like, "Hey, man, how you doing? You having a good time?"
That's just
you need anything? And I was like, "Oh man, like I love this place. It's cool."
That's where that's where I was running the D&D games every Monday night. Until all this shit happened.
Yeah, until all this fucking.
So you stop being a nerd.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I gotta break Thomas. I gotta break Thomas's balls.
Roll for initiative, Joey.
So
can we do a D&D episode?
Oh, I don't even know where to start with D&D. I have no fucking clue where to start with D&D.
The gentleman who founded the Phoenix Dungeons and Dragons Society.
There you go, man. Who else can we learn from, right?
Hashtag PHX D&D Society on Instagram.
PhD.
I can't even make this shit up.
You know who's huge?
I remember one time in high school, a couple of buddies, like they tried to. I was just like, my group in high school was just like so diverse, and I knew like everybody. I was cool with everybody. So like, I can't believe you just
represented Dungeons and Dragons like.
And there was people that were playing Magic the Gathering, and I actually had a class with one of the guys that I was cool with. He was like, "Hey man, come play." I was like, "All right, fuck you."
Let me grab out my dice.
We have descended from one level of nerdom to another. I swear to God.
This is what you get when you get me.
We're shooting D&D dice, man.
You know Joe Manganiello, right?
Yes.
Deathstroke. Yes. I'm aware.
Do you not know that he's a huge D&D nerd? He co-wrote the last Dungeons and Dragons book that came out through Wizards of the Coast.
Woo! Hold on.
Ascendant Avernus.
No way, really?
Yo,
look him up. He's part of the LA D&D Society. You know who plays at his games? His person. He runs a table in his basement, which used to be a wine cave. He turned it into a Dungeons and Dragons place.
Holy shit!
Oh, dude.
Yeah. My cheeks hurt. Stop. I'm trying my hardest.
Married to Sofia Vergara. He runs a game
Sofia Vergara, that's her name. That's what I was trying to reference earlier.
Yeah. So he runs a game. Tom Morello. You know who Tom Morello is? The guitarist of Vince Vaughn, The Big Show, the wrestler. That's his and a bunch of his friends. That's
his D&D squad?
That's his D&D.
Oh shit, that's dope.
Dude, look him up on Instagram. All he does is post about D&D. I
Yo,
shit you not.
okay,
Yeah.
so great
dope,
segue. Hold on, great kind of segue.
Joe's gonna cut the last 45 minutes out
I
of
know,
this.
yeah, he's gonna cut
Not
all
at
this shit
all.
out.
Not
so-
at all. I'm fucking dying.
He's all you fucking nerds.
nerds. Hold on. That's a great segue, though. My cheeks hurt. Pause. All right. So, you may.
My man's he's Ken.
I can't. You mentioned Joe. You mentioned Deathstroke. I'm not gonna call him Joe anything. You mentioned Deathstroke.
Yeah.
He posted that on the Snyder Cut there is a fight scene. Indirectly, he posted it between Batman and Deathstroke.
Yes.
So if there's another reason for you to look forward to the Snyder Cut, it's that.
Yep. Because Dungeons and Dragons is being represented. Sorry, I apologize. No, you're right. I was very excited to see. I'm very excited. I liked Manu Bennett from the Arrow TV show.
Oh, he was awesome.
Deathstroke, I think, is an incredibly interesting character.
Hold on. Now you're introducing somebody who's very dear, as far as part of a TV show that's very dear to my heart, which is Spartacus.
Yes.
And he was Crixus. And the fact that when I learned that he was going to be Deathstroke in Arrow, I can't even say Arrow, it says Spartacus. In Arrow, I was like, bro.
Yeah, he killed it. Every episode that he was
my God.
Brilliant.
Who else would you rather learn from to be the badass than fucking Crixus is?
Not only
Right, yeah.
There's certain actors that just have a charisma, and his kind of like New Zealandish American accent.
Yeah.
It just like that dude. I'm not trying to take away from his career on screen, but I want that dude to read audiobooks because I want to listen to him. He just sounds cool. And visually, he was so good on that series.
Hey, and
I
also
was very excited that he was on it, and you're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. And I think Joe Manganiello, I think if
we're forgetting somebody. We're forgetting Isais Morales.
Oh yeah, from Titans.
Bob, who from La Bamba, who is also the original dealer from Paid in Full. Now is Deathstroke in Titans. Yes. I haven't watched it yet. I am late to the game, but I definitely need to sit down and watch that show.
Oh, I haven't watched it. Okay, I don't want to spoil it.
I've heard nothing but good things about Isais Morales as Deathstroke.
Brilliant.
And
they play up the similar to Ben Affleck's Batman.
Yeah.
The older version of the character.
Oh, I love it.
That was my only issue. But did you see? Speaking of Isais Morales, who is an actor that I absolutely love, you see he recently replaced. He is the new villain, the new bad guy for Mission Impossible 7.
I saw that. Yes. That is a huge win for him.
So this is controversial opinion. I like reading about cults. I'm not a huge fan of supporting cults. And I think Scientology is a cult.
Oh.
I don't typically like to support that or its members.
Yeah.
So I have some issues with Tom Cruise. But damn if I don't like watching Mission Impossible movies, dude.
Dude, what's his name? I forget his name, and I love him as an actor. In Mission Impossible 3, he was a fucking amazing villain. The guy who passed away recently.
He played Capote. Seymour
Hoffman. Yeah, exactly. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Was one of
sorry guys, Amazon drivers at my door.
That's all right. One of the best villains in that series.
That Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is who they wanted. Now if you follow me on Instagram, you know I've been going through all of the Bond movies with my wife.
Here goes the plug.
I'm a Bond fan. That's at Thomas Healy.
Thomas Healy.
But Philip Seymour Hoffman's character for Mission Impossible is who they wanted Christoph Waltz to be. Inspector. Philip Seymour Hoffman was much like Jared Leto's Joker. I was terrified of his character.
Dude,
he was good.
So badass.
He's being hung out of a plane. Ethan's gonna drop him. And what does he catch on? Your name's Ethan, huh? Totally gonna find you. Gonna kill your girl. Gonna kill everybody you know. I'm not afraid of you, Ethan Hunt. And boy, it's terrifying how good he was.
You remind me how serious that scene was, one.
Yes.
And two, how badass he could be, where you go from Along Came Polly to that shit.
Yes.
And really, that is very, very Joe Pesci-ish. So like,
he was a great actor, man. He was
look at Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci went Home Alone, Goodfellas, Home Alone 2, Casino. Like that spectrum is pretty fucking wide.
Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman had that,
and he had that.
Yeah, he did.
I agree 100%. And when in that same scene you're talking about, that's exactly what like drew me. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah,
he's a bad motherfucker.
He's terrifying. And I think that's kind of what they wanted Christoph Waltz to be, Inspector, which is great movie. I know people don't like it.
Christoph Waltz was the best villain for me. Top 3 villains in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh God,
Hans Landa steals the show every time he's in the fucking scene. Doesn't
Absolutely.
matter. Brad Pitt doesn't matter.
How great is he? Is it in Django Unchained?
I liked him in that. Too. Okay,
he was a great.
Totally diverging. Okay, let's go back. Back to DC. goddammit. Let's.
Okay. So Christoph Waltz as Dr. Doom. Yes.
Wait, what? Where do you? How is that any DC related?
That'd be awesome.
No,
that would be fucking.
I don't want him anywhere near the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No.
Okay, who is he playing in DC then?
Doctor Strange.
They already have a great Doctor Strange.
Who?
Wait, Doctor Strange and dude, I'm empty. Who?
No, you know who?
Violator? No.
I just had it too. I just lost it.
I'm getting John Leguizamo back.
Dude,
I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, since we're way off topic anyway,
we are.
Is Jamie Foxx 100%?
As far as I know, yes. As far as I know, yes.
We got the inside man right here. He's gonna give us the scoop.
I think that's
so. Is it a remake or a reboot? What do we got?
I think that's public knowledge.
Hold on. I'm one of the few people, and this is not because you're connected or anything like that. I've said this for probably like 10 plus years, if not more. I'm one of the few people that the original Spawn movie was great for its time.
Oh
yeah, I love it.
Michael J. White embodied Spawn.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Michael J. White's phenomenal. I was super excited when he showed up on Arrow as Bronze Tiger. Dude, I'd be excited if he came back as Al Simmons again in Spawn. I get that people involved in money want bigger names. Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, I think it's all been public knowledge that Jamie Foxx was not approached by Todd, but approached Todd to say
and asked him, right?
This is one of the first major black superheroes, and I want to do this.
Yeah. Also,
yeah, I love Michael J. White. I love the first Bond. John Leguizamo was fucking awesome.
But Jason Blum, who runs Blumhouse Pictures, has said there's been a huge, I believe he referred to it as a seismic shift forward in the production of the Spawn movie.
Okay, all right. Circle back DC.
But I need to know Christoph Waltz. Who is he playing in DC for you?
Doctor Strange.
I had it too. I just forgot.
There is no Doctor Strange in DC.
Wait, no, what's his name? Doctor Strange. What's his
Adam
name?
Strange.
You're talking about Doctor Fate?
No, the crazy
Or
guy.
Adam
The crazy guy from Arkham. Oh, what's his name?
Hugo Strange.
Hugo Strange. Yeah, I was right. Doctor Strange. He's a doctor.
I
God
can
damn
either
it.
see him as a Hugo Strange or what's his name? Blood.
Jason Blood?
Jason Blood.
So
I would feel like he would.
Ooh,
I could see him as a Jason Blood, like
and
as
then
a Jason
transforms
Blood,
into
like
the demon?
yeah, like
I'm on Sal's team right there, dude.
Wait,
yeah.
what? Hold on, I
definitely
missed
see
something.
him as
Hold
a Jason
on.
Blood type, like just because he's such of a manipulator that he can, as him and his acting skills, like I could see him that way. Like
I can see that. I can see that. That's a
I would
deep
definitely
cut,
be
man.
on board for that. Yeah.
Hold on.
I like
now
this.
I gotta look up Jason Blood because I don't. Oh, the demon itself.
The demon.
Yeah.
especially if when he transforms to because the demon has to talk in rhymes.
Yeah.
He's a rhyming.
Yeah.
If they adjusted his voice a little bit, but you still had Christoph Waltz's voice,
Just add a little bass.
Yeah,
Helen-
add a little bass to the voice.
All
All
right.
right.
Hugo Strange. Hugo Strange. Because that's, I mean, if we're gonna be real nerdy about it, that's very Tom Hardy Venomish.
Yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of that particular character.
We're not gonna go into that, but 'cause I know you can fucking go down this whole rabbit hole of bullshit, but Hugo Strange is almost as close as we're gonna get to Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards,
You are right. Absolutely.
and that is a very parallelish character that can transform from one to the other, and that's what I see him as. I mean, I'm open to all, but if I had to pick one character, Hugo Strange is it. Doctor Strange.
See, I would think. I think it should be Dr. Fate then.
Yeah.
Why not go Hawkman?
He's not Hawkman. Tom Hardy is Hawkman.
Tom Hardy
Without
can
it.
be a Hawkman. I see him as a Hawkman. Yeah.
All right,
What
all
was
right.
that movie he played where he played the crazy English prisoner? It's a
Bronson.
Bronson.
Rock and Roller.
That's
Where he's-
fucking
where he's
good
just-
fucking
he's
movie,
taking
dude.
his
Yeah.
thing.
He's
He just
fucking
rips-
people up in prison,
Yeah.
dude. Like he's just
That's
Tom
when,
Hardy is
that's when he got
Hawkman.
huge.
Done.
All
So
right.
basically, call this podcast "We Saved the DC Universe."
yeah. Max Allotment saves the DC universe. Yeah.
We outlined what really goes on.
We're
What
going
really
to
should happen.
recast the DC Universe and save it.
All right. So back to DC. Now I'm glad you segued into that. Man of Steel, Henry Cavill. I just read and I shared it with you guys that he's signed on. This is like kind of like penciled in, not penned, but penciled in that he signed
I
on
hope it's true.
for
I hope it's true.
multiple DC movies. Man of Steel 2 being one of them.
Yep.
Talk about it.
I'm
Sal, go first.
Yeah. I'm totally in. I'm with Thomas. I'm totally in. He was a great Superman. We talked about his acting earlier. He's fucking phenomenal. I don't know, man. To me, he is Superman right now. That's the only Superman that I can see. I don't see anybody else filling that role. He did such a great job in Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and even Justice League, even though they got his mustache out, but still. Mustache gate. But besides that, I'm glad. I hope it's true. I hope he comes back because if he does, man, I am super psyched. I loved it. Like I said, I loved him, obviously. He's a great actor, and I couldn't see anybody else playing that role right now. So I hope it's true. I hope he comes back, even if it's just in cameos. If it's Man of Steel 2, that'd be fucking epic. If it's cameos in other movies, if it's just that shit, it's cool because that's our Superman. But
Yeah.
I love it, man. Great choice. If it's true, I hope it's true, and I hope it happens.
Man of Steel 2. Who's the villain?
Brainiac, I hope. I mean, that would be the only.
Really? You're gonna go
No,
Brainiac?
no.
You're
No,
gonna
no.
pull your ace out of this sleeve?
Yeah.
I would
They-
go with Brainiac, but I would because they've built up the what is it? League of Doom
Okay.
or
Legion of Doom.
Legion of Doom. I could see that kind of taking off as being maybe Man of Steel 2, maybe segue into the next Justice League.
Okay.
Maybe it's just Lex Luthor. And
My man,
I
you
would
said like
hopefully
5
see
villains.
maybe
Pick
because
one.
they introduced the Kryptonite, I could see maybe
Pick one.
Metallo.
Okay.
Maybe. Just because Kryptonite's already been established in the movies already, so I could see kind of maybe Metallo. But if not, it would either be Lex and maybe Bizarro or leading up to the Legion of Doom.
Okay. Thomas?
My vote is to have Sal somehow get a job at DC. Because I like everything. I can see Metallo playing a small part, kind of like as no superhero movie now does one villain.
Yeah.
They all are equal. Metallo plays the small side head villain that leads into Justice League 2 and Legion of Doom. But Lex is screwing around with Kryptonian technology and somehow catches the attention of Brainiac, and that is the main villain of that. It brings back the Kryptonian heritage. It brings back the space thing. It also, if you're doing something like Brainiac where you're like, oh, this is a space threat, you can easily say, well, why didn't Aquaman show up? Because it's space and the dude's underwater.
He doesn't care about that. Yeah.
He's defending Gotham. This is a threat that takes place. Maybe we have a lot of the movie take place on the moon or whatever. But Henry Cavill, I'm excited for him to come back. I will say he is an amazing Superman, but I want to give props. I think Brandon Routh was a better Clark Kent.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon Routh
I agree.
Studied Christopher Reeves, which maybe, again, I was defaming this before by saying you live in your past.
Yeah.
But I think Brandon Routh studied Christopher Reeve as Clark Kent and pulled it off amazingly in Superman Returns. And they even dressed him in the same cornflower blue suit. But the whole Lois, I'm sorry, like just all of
the little mannerisms that he did. Yeah.
I get it wasn't the great movie. I thought Kevin Spacey was pretty interesting as Lex Luthor. I hated Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane. I did not buy the fact that she was a chain-smoking, Pulitzer Prize-winning mother of a teenager. I thought she looked like the nanny, but she was active at the time. But I think that there were some definite amazing moments of Brandon Routh as Superman and Clark Kent, which I appreciated the fact that they brought that out back for the Arrowverse.
Elseworlds, and the Elseworlds crossover, that was awesome. The Kingdom Come Superman, he was the Kingdom Come guy,
which was supposed to be the same universe as Superman Returns. But Henry Cavill, brilliant, absolutely great. He's coming off of Witcher, which was pretty much beloved by most people.
Oh,
I'm very excited. I think we were talking about, can DC, beat Marvel and gain some traction? They need to sign him. They need to put him in a good Superman movie because I think he's great. And unfortunately, I don't think I'm ever going to get another Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie with him and Armie Hammer. I love those movies. I love
Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer is clearly going to be Green Lantern.
Armie,
whatever.
Armie.
Armie Hammer.
I can see him as Green Lantern.
Did you know he was cast as Batman?
I heard.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
The old Justice League movie that never got the end. But that being said, I agree with you. Henry Cavill, I want to see more of him. I think Brainiac is a great choice.
For number two?
For number two. Because I don't think he doesn't have to defeat him completely. He has to defeat him to the point where he stops the threat. But we as viewers know Brainiac's mind still exists. And that can be brought into the Justice League. Similar to how they transitioned from Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League the Animated Series. And it all kept a lot of that stuff going. And there was that huge arc in season 2 all about Brainiac and Lex Luthor trying to work with Brainiac and then totally being hornswoggled by Brainiac. I loved that. I think that is some of the best animated superhero stuff of all time is Justice League Unlimited seasons 1 and 2, without a doubt. Because they pulled some deep cuts. They had Vigilante.
2 minutes, guys.
By Nathan Fillion.
I gotta pee. 2 minutes.
All right.
Sorry, I gotta go.
This is not hitting the cut. But Sal, you are absolutely right. I think that you got Brainiac going on, and then save the Legion of Doom for Justice League.
For Justice League, yeah.
But you have all of those seeds from the Man of Steel too, and I think Henry Cavill. Seeing that today made me super excited.
One of the things that I really enjoyed a lot about like the Snyder movies is like there is so much Easter eggs that he dropped, man. There's so many little Easter eggs because he dropped that Supergirl Easter egg in there. He dropped we didn't really get it. Well, we're gonna get it in Justice League, but the Martian Manhunter Easter egg, he's in there. Like there's just so many things in there that they can do. And I just like I never realized, like, I don't know. I was just like, to me, it's just like you guys have all these things to pull from. Not only the comics, but you got the animated series. Like you have people that grew up on the animated series that never read comics, that only saw the cartoons. Like you can dip your fingers into that and you can grab so much out of that. Like you can do a lot. And it's just like, to me, it always felt like they were always trying to catch up to Marvel and like be Marvel, but don't be Marvel. Like I understand like you guys try to set yourselves apart by not doing the extended universe, but at the same time you kind of shot yourself in the foot because like it all has to come together at some point. Like it all has to mesh into one point. At some point it has to all come together.
If they want to not be Marvel and not do here's the cosmic villain who's been destroying worlds and is eventually getting from Earth, maybe they drop. Snyder Cut comes out, oh look, it's Darkseid, boom. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Kirby fan. I want to see Darkseid. I want to see Granny Goodness. And I don't care if they do a CGI. You still get Ed Asner to friggin' voice Granny Goodness because he was amazing on Justice League Unlimited. But what if you do something different? What if you say it's not this singular cosmic being? What if it's you like you were saying just now, Sal, you're pulling for the animated series. Bring the White Martians in.
Yeah.
Multiple White Martians.
Well,
hidden among Earth.
So
as powerful potentially as Superman. Bring that in.
So
instead of just the singular cosmic death entity a la Thanos.
All right, I'm back.
Hey.
Sorry, I had a
there's our host.
I popped the seal, had to go 3 cans later. Anyway, that was my Amazon driver. He dropped us some shit.
Yeah, mine came by. That's when I left earlier. Mine came by too. He dropped
by my
1997 Batman pop.
Oh, nice.
Low key, I'm not gonna. No homo. I was looking to see if he had the bat nipples, but he doesn't.
All right. So.
If I would have known it was that kind of podcast, I would have stuck my dick in the mashed potatoes.
Yes, Beastie Boys. Yes. I'm glad somebody. So I'm glad you brought that up, because my friend who passed away 2 years ago, he would always say, "Yo, if I knew it would be that kind of party, I would have stuck my dick in the mashed potatoes." That was his whole thing.
Oh man, hilarious.
Beastie Boys line. All right, so we agree. Henry Cavill owns the Man of Steel, Superman.
Yes, absolutely.
He is the equivalent. Can we say he's the equivalent to Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man?
Yeah,
Iron Man. Yeah,
Superman.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
That kind of begs the question, right? Where does Ben Affleck sit in all this? If Henry Cavill comes back, Ben Affleck is almost tied indirectly to this.
I think it really comes down to like the direction that they want to go, because obviously the Snyder Cut, it is going to bring back all the fans that gave up on DC, man. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of people after Justice League that just stopped fucking with the DC in general, with just said to the movies in general. I'm just saying the average moviegoer.
Yeah.
It's because those are the fans that I know that were psyched about Justice League, and when they saw the movie, it was just like trash. Then they were just like, no, you know what, fuck it. And then they saw Endgame, and they were like, oh, Marvel, and they just flocked over this way. But I think if it's a big enough hit, which I know it will be, to me anyway, but if it's enough as a big hit, and that they end up getting enough money to bring back Ben Affleck as Batman, they have the opportunity to expand that universe. Like Thomas said earlier, Ben Affleck is probably the best version of Batman that I've seen. Um, he has the Dark Knight, like the little fucking elements of the Dark Knight Returns from they had the suit, they had the fucking, his whole mentality and everything.
Yeah.
So if it comes to that, I can see him coming back, and I wouldn't be mad at it because I loved his Batman. Of course, like he was an awesome Batman. I loved it. It just depends, man. It just, I don't know. It just kind of goes like off of this Snyder Cut. I feel like this is going to be the first stepping stone, and then they're going to go off of that. Like, all right, did it bring enough subscribers into HBO Max? Did it make us enough money to be able to offer these actors enough contracts to come back and make another movie? You know what I'm saying?
So
that's how I feel.
A lot of what you're saying revolves around money. Is that really the driving point for you specifically?
Ultimately, if you think about it, it's not. I mean, I feel like that's kind of like one of the one things that drove AT&T to say, all right, if we release it, look at all of these people that signed all of these petitions, but if we release it on this service only, are we going to get that same amount of people to sign on to our service? So if you think about it, in reality, it's all about money in the back. And at the end of the day, it's all about them thinking about how much money they can make off of releasing the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
It's not really a fan service, even though it is for us because we see it as a win. But at the end of the day, they're thinking if there's 100 million people that signed this petition that want to see this movie release, can we get those 100 millions of people to sign on to our service and to subscribe for our 12 months, for 6 months, for 2 months, for even 3 months, for even the fucking day or the month that the movie releases? If we can get that amount of people to sign on for that day, we broke the bank.
Thomas?
And it's sad, but that's how it works, man. That's how businesses run, man.
I think it's all about the money. I would love to see Ben Affleck come back into that role. And again, it's a movie. You can kind of maybe take a few of the grays out of his hair, you make him a little bit, just kind of casually younger him up, make him a little less grizzled.
I don't know,
because you want to give him 2 or 3 more movies.
But the thing is, I wouldn't want to see him go backwards. I would want to see him go forward. That's my thing.
Well, I'm not saying that you're pretending to be younger. You just kind of portray him as a little bit. You don't portray him as grizzled and at the end of his career as he was. Because again, I want more Ben Affleck movies, but it is about money. That's exactly it. They're betting to see what is it. We're spending $30 million on a Snyder Cut. What is that going to get us in revenue? If that gets them enough money in revenue, they will throw money at Ben Affleck. We already know that Ezra Miller. We know that Jason Momoa. We know that Gal Gadot. We know they're already in more movies. We know they're already in this. But those 2 guys,
Zachary Levi,
yeah.
We know that those are the ones that everyone was waiting to see about. And I'm excited about the Batman Year One-esque Robert Pattinson movie. Don't get me wrong. But I think the more Batman movies out there, the better the world is. I'm excited about him. I think he's an underrated actor. I think I was one of those people that just kind of went, "Oh, it's the dude from the Twilight movie." Yep. Then I've seen him in other things and went, "Dude is like really good as an actor." Like I prejudged. I shouldn't have. I think he's going to be amazing in Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Sorry.
Same, yeah.
Judge Summer Chair. But that being said, you can't slot him into this franchise, so they're going to need to get Ben back.
Yeah.
I think fans, and I know me personally, would be super into them getting the band back together.
Yeah.
And putting out and realizing we can go a little dark. I think they're okay with this. We don't need. And I'm a Joss Whedon fan too. I'm a Buffy fan. I'm a Firefly fan. We don't need Joss Whedon's hope in this. We can go a little dark in this and still succeed. And I hope that that's their plan.
But that's in line with exactly what I was talking about earlier, that DC currently owns the rated R lane with what they've been doing. And I would love to see, and to be honest with you, right now, with the way Ben Affleck's Batman has transitioned where he started B versus Superman or B versus Batman versus Superman. He started, hey, fuck it, and there's no point in playing by the rules anymore. We're just gonna kill everybody. Shit happens. Shit happens. Right now, we're transitioning into a more, you know what? I learned from this guy who potentially is an alien that life does matter, and I should be more open to caring for more life. Because even if in the ultimate cut that Sal alluded to a few times earlier, when people were in prison, he would brand them, and that was their that was a death sentence right there. Like he was saying, hey, I'm branding you now that I've touched you, but I didn't kill you. When you go to prison, you're gonna die. People are gonna kill you.
Yeah, it basically said, I'm not going to kill you, but, here you go.
Yeah, right? So, good luck.
Yeah.
And so, I think that transition is a great, that where we see, okay, here was where he was at Batman or Superman. Here is where he was in the either Snyder Cut and or Joss Whedon Cut. But then let's go into a more, okay, where are we evolving next with this Batman? Where is this Batman going? So I look forward to that. I love Ben Affleck as Batman. I was one of the few that was like, all these people would be better at Batman than Ben Affleck. When I heard he first was 2014, 13, something like that.
When he first got casted.
When he first got announced as Batman, I was like, nah, there's 1,000 other people that can be better as him. And I think I was actually one of the few, but one of the people that was voting for what's the guy from the Karate Guy? The guy with the martial arts?
Ralph Macchio.
No, stop. Stop, Thomas, stop. No. No, the guy from Ninja and a few other movies.
Michael Dudikoff.
No. Okay, we're done. I forget his name. But anyway, that guy. But then now people have also tried to convince other people that the guy from Mad Men, again, forget his name.
Oh, John Hamm.
John Hamm.
He's a
John
great
Hamm.
Bruce Wayne and Batman, quote, back and forth.
Well, I think he'd be a great Bruce Wayne.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't know about Batman, but the point is, Affleck embodies all of that. And you look at the character, you look at the way he portrays it, you look at the way he acts, he is it. That's it. Like I don't want to change it any more than that. If we're gonna end,
no, I don't want to change it, but I do understand when we're literally talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. Maybe they go,
peanuts.
You know what?
Man.
Ben Affleck is not going to work out for this.
Yeah.
Let's try on him. I would be prepared if they're going to do Man of Steel 2 with the expectation that there's multiples, and let's say that Shazam 2 does really well and Aquaman 2 does really well, and when Wonder Woman 2 finally gets released, they're like, oh, that was great, and now we're going to finally get a movie with her in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they do have to recast.
Recast what?
Batman.
Wonder Woman. Oh, Batman?
I mean, maybe they have to at that point. If Ben's not willing to come back and say, he's done plenty of interviews where he was like, that was the worst thing I've ever had to do.
Yeah, but he's also done interviews where he said, that's a good idea. And he left it very vague.
Well, remember at the time, he was going
don't get me wrong.
divorce.
I want him.
He was going through a divorce, and he was like an alcoholic at the time because of his divorce. So, like, I mean, if anything, if you're in that own situation, like, think of it personally. Like, would you want to act? Would you want to be in another movie? Would you want to go work out and like be in this movie? Like, because you have all that shit in your mind? Like,
I hope he does.
You wouldn't want to. Yeah, you wouldn't want to. As a person, I don't know. That's what I see. Like, when he was going through all that shit, he was going through all the personal shit in his life. So I can understand him not wanting to do it, not wanting to go work out, not wanting to have this fucking tight ass schedule. And like at the end of the day, have to come home and realize, yo, I'm in a fucking, all this personal shit's going on. So I can see that. But like you said, at the same time, like it comes down to like, are they going to be able enough to like make him come back? That's what it comes down to, is like they have to want to be able, and he has to want to be able to come back at the same time too. So,
one thing I like about this conversation is that we all agreed, casting wise, DC Cinematic Universe is spot on.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they've nailed almost every cast.
It's one thing that I appreciate that we've had in this conversation is that we have not derailed and said, well, this guy could have been better, or this person should have been a better option. We said, hey, we want them back, or we want them to be it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Now, I enjoyed Gary Oldman, even though it's a very small role.
No,
I enjoyed Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon.
he was solid.
I liked Jeffrey Wright from Westworld, which is probably my second favorite TV show of all time. I'm looking forward to him as Commissioner Gordon. But now I'm spacing his name because I'm out of wine. I had an entire bottle of wine. What's his name? Who played Gordon?
J. Jonah Jameson.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Drumline. He's in the Drummer movie.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
I know his name. Yeah, I know.
But they totally stole him because he was J. Jonah Jameson, and then Marvel's like, no, fuck you. We're bringing him back.
We're bringing him back. You guys can't have him.
Listen. That is literally one of the best casting ever. That's probably okay. Arguably, that's probably better than Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark.
As J. Jonah Jameson?
Yeah.
Him as J. Jonah Jameson? Oh, yeah.
Whatever his name is. I forget his name.
We're doing him a big disservice.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, we are. Because he's such a great actor, and I love him in everything he's been in, and I can't remember his fucking name for the fucking death of me, man.
Now I gotta look it up. Hold on. But, yes, we gotta agree that as far as casting-wise, he is probably the person...
Sam Raimi did a good job in picking him as J. Jonah.
Oh, yeah, he was spot on, man.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
There you go.
I knew it was some crazy acronym last name type of shit. But yes, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, man.
That being said,
I think the DC Universe has a really good future going forward, man. They the whole HBO Max thing and with the Snyder Cut coming, hopefully the Ayer Cut, just because I'm biased maybe. I love the Joker as a character, and I want to see more of him. I want to see more of Leto's Joker. I hope that shit comes to fruition, man. I hope it does.
If you would have asked me last week, I would have had an entirely different opinion.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely.
If you would have asked me yesterday, I would have had a better opinion. But if you would have asked me 2 hours ago, my opinion changed. So I think DC, AT&T, Warner Brothers, whoever's looking at these properties has a good solid pulse and knows what they're looking at. And I think that they have some very green pastures. At least they're going to make a shit ton of money.
Okay.
In the next few years.
So let's sort of wrap it up. I want to ask, what non-Marvel movies coming up can learn from what DC did and changed to? Thomas.
Wait, so what non-Marvel movies?
Correct. So non-Marvel and non-DC, but what they can learn, because DC went through a huge change over the past 5 years, give or take. Mm-hmm. So what can other comic properties learn when it comes to making movies from DC of what to do and what not to do?
There's not a lot out there. One that I unfortunately haven't seen yet is Bloodshot.
I saw that.
Was it good? Yes or no?
No.
My only gripe with no, don't jump into it. I like the movie. My only thing with the movie is they should not have cast Vin Diesel, because I feel Vin Diesel was their attempt to get people that didn't know about the movie to come into the movie just because of the name.
Great.
But if you would have had a lesser unknown actor, and if your trailers and the shit that you put out, your promotion, if your promotion would have a little bit explained to the people what Bloodshot, because I know who Bloodshot is. I know the whole Valiant universe, so I already knew what it was going. And when I saw Vin Diesel, I was like, this is a ploy. This is just, they cast Vin Diesel to get people in the seats. If they would have got if they would have got somebody else besides Vin Diesel, and if they would have got and maybe explained maybe a little bit of the backstory, just a bit, just not give away the story, but just a little bit, then it would have been. I think it would have been a lot greater.
Okay.
But my only gripe with that is because that they got Vin Diesel and they put a name to put people in the seats, and that was my only thing. The movie itself was great. I loved the movie. The movie was awesome.
So to answer your question, that which when I asked Sal was not a yes or no answer that he provided, obviously. I'm a big fan of the Valiant universe, and I want them to succeed because that is a very deep and interesting, interconnected universe.
Oh yeah.
I would say that they need to. The biggest thing is if you're going to go for this, if you're going to go for the DC thing, or actually not the DC thing, if you're going to go for the Marvel thing, you have to just commit to the connections that you establish. And I think that was the biggest thing with DC. They tried it several times and they kept stuttering. No, it's not connected. Well, it is connected, but we're not going to. I think
it's not. But it is. But it's not.
Just do
but
it.
It is.
Obviously, that's what fans want, which is why we're getting a Snyder Cut. Not just because it might be darker and you didn't like Joss Whedon, but I think it shows a deeper tie to a DC cinematic universe. I think fans are going to want Shazam to show up and share screen time with Jason Momoa. I think they're going to want Shazam to share screen time with a dude who's going to go, let's get a drink, and have Shazam be like, oh, that tastes like crap. They
want him to give him a shot, and Shazam spit it out in his face and be like, what is that? And he's like, it's whiskey. Like,
hesitant to commit to it, where Marvel was just like, fuck it. You know what? You were talking about Hulk before. You know why there hasn't been another Hulk movie? Because Universal still owns them. Universal owns the rights to Hulk, so they can't have him in a solo movie. I get that you want that. I enjoyed Thor Ragnarok, and you were like, yeah, it's pussy Hulk. I get it. You're not wrong. Maybe it's a different.
Wait, no, in Infinity War and Endgame, he was Pussy Hulk too.
I like Pussy Hulk. I like the name. I
didn't even notice that. But you know what I'm saying? But that was storyline connected. But DC has seemed to stutter with that, and I think that as long as they embrace it, as long as they give the little fans the nods to Titans, they give the fans to nods to Stargirl or Arrow or whatever, and mention, oh, there's some guy in Star City running around with a bow and arrow. That's crazy, huh? What are we gonna do? I think fans will appreciate it more. I think fans appreciate fan service.
Yeah. No, I no argument there.
And if I really
totally agree.
I was going to say,
go ahead.
You guys changed my opinion. I wasn't against the Snyder Cut, but I was kind of like, these nerd fanboys are the worst. But you sold me on it. That potentially this was the original vision.
Fuck yeah.
That should come out. And as long as that, if that does well, I hope that they stay that course and say, you know what? Let's just go with it. This was the original vision. Obviously, this is what the fans wanted. We're going to go with it.
So let me ask you a question. And this is going to sidetrack a little bit. Because you said that we sold you on the Snyder Cut, were you not a fan of the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2?
I didn't mind it. I know I enjoyed that. Again, I'm not a fan of director cuts. Having a director cut, don't get me wrong. Gosh, I don't even remember the director. Highlander. The original Highlander had several cuts.
Even the Watchmen director's cut had some shit in there that was fucking epic.
Which is another big movie of mine. Terry Gilliam had multiple cuts. I'm not arguing about different director's cuts.
Okay.
I'm arguing about the movie was not. You can argue semantics. Justice League was not finished at the time that Zack left.
Got it.
Yeah.
They brought someone else in. There's all kinds of stories, whether or not he was already assisting Zack or not. I don't know. I don't know the truth of that. They brought someone else to finish it up. Fans claimed there was a Snyder Cut that existed. Obviously, we know now because $30 million is being spent. It didn't. But what we do know is Zack Snyder didn't finish what he wanted to.
Got it. Yep.
I'm all for
it. He had what he wanted, but he just didn't finish it. That's what it was.
But what people claimed and what fans were asking for, that Snyder Cut, that didn't exist. because they wouldn't be spending $30 million to do more if it did.
Agreed.
But I'm excited to see it now. I was never against it. I just, like I said, I was kind of siding on the side of creators. If they wanted to complete, if they wanted Zack Snyder's vision to be out to the public, they would have just waited until it was ready to come back. But DC chose to not do that, so that's what happened. I've seen many comic books that the writer fails to produce issues, or the artist fails to produce issues, and it just falls apart at that point. And this seems like this was the best way. But you guys have changed my opinion on it. That now DC, now instead of looking at it as, well, now they're just doing it to appease the fanboys, it's DC going, no. Now we're going to be able to complete our original vision. So you guys changed my opinion on this.
Good. Okay. Good shit. Sal, non-DC, non-Marvel, what can they learn from the DC movies that have happened over the past 5 years?
I mean, just stay true to your course. Like, honestly, whatever you can plan out, what you want to do, stay true to it, man. That's the thing. DC definitely had a lot of missteps. I feel like Thomas said earlier, Marvel was with the shits. They were with the shits that said, well, fuck it, no one's ever done it, let's do it. It's either going to fail or it's going to be fucking big. It's going to be 50-50 either way, so let's just do it. So let's put it out there. Guardians of the Galaxy is a great example of that. They didn't fucking know who was good. Nobody knew about fucking Star-Lord or fucking Gamora, Rocket Raccoon, anybody about that shit, dude. They literally took a risk, said, hey, people are either going to fucking hate this shit or people are going to love it. Let's put it out there and see what happens. And
I worked at
obviously, you know what the
when that was announced. I knew who Guardians of the Galaxy were.
Yeah. Really? Oh yeah, trust me too. Yeah. So when I heard it, I was super psyched. But I knew, like, personally, like, family members and people that I know, they're like, what the fuck is Guardians? Like, who's Star-Lord? Like, what is that? Like, is there a raccoon in this movie? There's gonna be a raccoon in this movie, like shit like that. Yeah. But honestly, just take risks, man. That's really honestly what it boils down to. If you take the risk, like, take the leap, man. Like, the juice is gonna be worth the squeeze at the end. And if it's not, it's not, you know. You learn from your mistakes. If you fucking do it, then you do it. And if you don't, you don't. And I'm glad that we were talking about Valiant earlier, because I feel like they have like you said, they have enough of, they established their connected universe early on. Like, that whole shit is connected. And like, I saw Bloodshot. They dropped a little bit of hints, but I felt like they could have dropped a lot more hints of the other people that are established in that universe. So it's like, honestly, that's what it is. Take the risk. It's either you fucking shoot for it or you don't. And if you don't, you're going to lose. But if you fucking shoot for it and if you make it, even if you don't, at least you took it, you know? There's a lot of fucking properties that have that opportunity to do so because their universes are so big.
Yeah.
So it's just like, fucking either follow the path that, if you want to follow Marvel, you know what you have to do. If you want to take your own thing, and if you have enough of a fan base that's going to be able to fucking follow and know exactly what you're doing, and you make it simple enough for fucking people to catch on to it, then you're fucking golden, man.
So my biggest thing is, and I've talked about it a few times today, is I think people meaning everybody. And obviously my next statement is going to exclude children, but the rated R route. I think that's the path that a lot of new movies, new superhero movies, are going to have to adapt to. Don't look for the family comedies. Don't look for the family movies. Don't look for
cheap laughs.
Yeah, don't look for any of that shit.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want. Deadpool 1 gave us what we wanted, and it did $1 billion or whatever the fuck it is. Deadpool 2, same thing. The Logan movie, same thing. Brightburn. Brightburn, great example. Brightburn was an amazing example.
Great movie. I love that movie, man.
I think that the studios just realized they can fork it. They can go in two directions.
Yeah.
You've got your Shazams. Give me your fucking dark ass horror based New Mutants.
Give me what the guy who has all the power that's been bullied all his life that decides that I've had enough. I don't want to deal with you. And instead of shooting up a school, I'm gonna fucking obliterate you with my laser eyes. Right? But like, look at it, right?
And kill my
It's kind of
parents,
that same
and kill my
mentality, dude. It's
parents,
like,
and kill my fucking uncle, and kill everybody else around me. That was pretty much Brightburn, but more graphic.
yeah, exactly.
No, but I do think that rated R, when you lift the restraints, people are going to be more interested.
Yes.
Like when you say, "Ooh, this new Batman or Superman flick is going to be rated R," well, what are they going to do? It's Superman. He's a Boy Scout. What's going to happen? Yeah. Like what's really going to go? What's really going to go south that it's rated R? You know, It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be to the extreme of Brightburn, because Brightburn, the scene with the car crash, was fucking ridiculous.
I don't think they're ever going to take their main heroes. You're never going to see a rated R Batman movie. You're never going to see a rated R Superman movie. Mm-hmm. You're going to see a rated R Moon Knight movie.
Yeah.
You're going to see a rated R potentially Green Arrow movie.
I can see that.
But they're going to keep those characters, the periphery characters. Their main characters. Their summer blockbusters,
mm-hmm.
PG-13.
The Will Smith-ish characters.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. Will Smith is the perfect way to look at it. And to circle back to, I think, what Thomas said earlier about older characters, I think the last Bad Boys movie did a great job. And as much as it wasn't the best movie ever, it was like, hey, here's this old Michael Lowry, right? But he's still kicking ass. He's still doing his thing. But he's introducing a new wave of characters, which could essentially be like a Ben Affleck introducing the Titans, Young Justice, whatever you want to call it. It's a great way to segue into that, in my opinion. I think that's a perfect way for that to happen. And for Marvel to bank on a Thanos, whatever, type of character, Darkseid hasn't even scratched the surface yet. And we don't know what's going to happen in the Snyder Cut. He's going to be in the Snyder Cut apparently, but let's assume he's just somebody, like to your point, where he's introduced, but the audience knows is more.
Yeah,
there's potentially that option also. So now there's so much.
I feel like that's what it's going to lead to. That's what the Snyder Cut is going to lead to. It's going to lead to a lot more questions that want to be answered, that the fans are going to ask to be answered. Mm-hmm. And HBO or AT&T, like you said, whoever's in charge, you're gonna be like, all right, well, they want this. Let's dish out a fucking TV series. Let's fucking dish out another movie. Let's capitalize on what this Snyder Cut is gonna do, and let's kind of expand off of that. Let's see where it's gonna go. Let's see if they want it this bad, like they wanted this so bad. Let's see what they want after we give them what they want, kind of thing.
Yeah, we've got. I agree with you there. We've got the Eternals coming out, which is basically Jack Kirby's version
of the New Gods,
Marvel version of the New Gods.
Yep.
And you also have one of the best books that's come out in years, that Mr. Miracle series by Tom King.
Absolutely. That shit was classic, dude. I loved it.
Amazing. So am I going to be surprised if the Snyder Cut introduces Darkseid and then all of a sudden they're like, hey guess what, guys, we got a New Guys movie? Not at all.
Right? If we see a little cameo of Mr. Miracle coming through,
who is my second favorite character of all time, Mr. Miracle. But quick question, because you mentioned it, because I have not had a chance to see that last Bad Boys movie because nobody in my life wanted to see that with me.
Oh man, you should have hit us up, man. We would have gone with you.
Do I get to rent it or buy the DVD? But do I get a scene with Martin Lawrence going, but it's Mike Lowry? Does he say it like that?
You don't get that, but you get typical Martin Lawrence.
Okay.
That's what I love about it. So I'm not gonna lie.
No, he does kind of. Remember when he's like, "You're supposed to be Mike Lowry."
Oh, now I got to rewatch it.
Yeah. He makes fun of him. I think.
Oh, when they're in the bar. When they're in the bar. Yeah.
I thought you was Mike Lowry. Yeah.
I don't want to deviate, but yes, I enjoy those movies quite a bit.
The movie sets up the movie.
Reggie comes back.
The movie sets up a whole nother
generation.
Yeah, it's similar. It's similar to like like a Lethal Weapon, I'm too old for this shit type of thing. But here are some younger people that can do the job.
They're not too old for this shit, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Thomas.
Too old for that shit is Tom Cruise.
No,
Is he still doing? Did you see they're going to film a movie in space? He wants to.
He's not doing that. He's not doing that.
I think he's gonna. Dude, he's gonna do it. He's got.
Dude, he sold his soul to Scientology, bro. He's immortal. He's immortal.
He's got cult money, and he's got Elon Musk, and they're gonna film a movie in space, and it's gonna be Mission Impossible 13,
and it's gonna suck ass. It's gonna sell because it's a movie in space.
It's gonna be
Bathed in virgin blood, dude. Like he's good. He's solid.
He's
not going anywhere.
It's gonna be like the original IMAX movies. Oh, this movie is shot in IMAX, but it's just people like standing around, but it's clear as fuck. That's really what it's gonna be like. There's people standing in space.
It's people walking in front of the camera that you can see.
I got the Planet Earth HD Blu-rays is very like this. Is Planet
see that
Earth
fucking frog getting that fucking frog.
Like here's water. But here's like an hour and a half.
Hey, all joking aside,
real quick, you guys. Have you guys seen any of the? Have you guys seen the new? What is it? The Darkseid War animated DC movies. Have you guys seen any of those?
Oh yes.
No.
So yeah. the Dark.
I just bought the Justice League Darkseid War. I'm gonna watch it after this. I was waiting for it.
So
I was gonna watch it before, but I got too busy with work. I didn't have time.
I don't know why you keep saying Darkseid, but it's Dark Side. But anyway,
Dark Side, it's all good, bro.
But
just got ill.
Thomas, I recommend you watch this animated movie because it's completely the opposite of what you think is going to happen is what's happening.
I enjoy Justice League Unlimited. I have seen a smattering of the animated films. I will check that one out. This
one actually says
an animated film guy.
Hey, fuck all the rules. This one says fuck all the rules. We're gonna make crazy shit happen. And when you watch it and you see crazy shit happen, you're just like, the fuck is going on?
I wish they
before we end all this, can we give fuck, I forgot his name. I just had it on tip of my tongue. The guy who played Constantine in the Constantine series. Matt Ryan. He is the fucking embodiment of Constantine on the animated and in the fucking show, dude. He blows Keanu Reeves out of the wave, but that guy is the fucking best, dog. He is literally Constantine.
Right now, there's a ton of rumors floating around that after Legends, which is presently the best CW show, because it's just so ridiculous that they're still talking about the show. Because he is perfect, but I love the fact that they're just grabbing him for the animated stuff.
There's talks of Keanu Reeves coming back as Constantine also for a movie.
Well,
I want Matt Ryan.
The Justice League Dark.
I want Matt Ryan. That guy is literally John Constantine, dude. Like,
are we gonna lose for either one? That's the question.
No, because I think while Keanu Reeves' movie Constantine was a poor disservice for a Hellblazer adaptation, it wasn't a bad movie.
No.
And then when you've got Peter Stormare as the devil, I mean that scene at the end when he's like
he grabs his fucking lungs. When he grabs his lungs, dude. Oh my god. I love that.
Keanu Reeves is floating away to heaven and it's just all
he's like, nope, get your ass back here. You belong to me.
It's a great movie. It had Papa Midnight.
Now I got to rewatch that tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
It wasn't a good adaptation of the Hellblazer comic or the character of John Constantine.
But the storyline was there.
It was a good quote unquote origin movie. Yeah, it's probably a good. That's how I would look at it. I wouldn't look at it as.
I love that you said that because that's my favorite part when he reaches up and he's going to heaven and John thinks he's fucking great. He's like, I'm doing it finally. And then all of a sudden he comes and grabs his fucking lungs. He's like, nope, get your ass back here.
You're going to fuck up
That's
again.
my favorite fucking part of the movie, dude.
He's like, you're going to fuck up, so I want to make sure it happens.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton in it is great. I thought, what's the kid's name? I mean, he's not a kid.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf.
LaBeouf was great in it.
Yeah.
He was
I remember when I went to go see that movie in theaters, and I went with my best friend, and we got out. And as soon as we stepped out of the theater, bro, I was like, "Hey, man, do you have smoke stock? Because I want a fucking cigarette." He's like, "I was no." And literally, his response was, "Dude, I wanted to smoke a cigarette throughout that whole fucking movie. Let's do it." And then we sparked up a fucking cigarette, dude.
I haven't smoked in like 20 years, but you want a movie that makes you want to smoke?
After you watch that movie, you want to light up. You want to light up, dude.
The Ninth Gate with Johnny Depp.
Oh my god. I just watched that on fucking Amazon the other day.
It's based on a great book called The Club Dumas, which is a great, weird, twisted, supernatural mystery movie. But Johnny Depp makes smoking, like, because he never pulls out a pack. He's always wearing an overcoat. He just reaches into his pocket and pulls
and grabs one out there.
Every
Lucy? Like, he just pulled out Lucy's out of his pocket.
Pulls out Lucky Strikes and he's
Lucy's for $1.
Throughout the whole movie, and it totally makes you.
Chappelle show. He's like, "What's a Lucy?" It's a loose white woman.
All right. Circle back. Let's wrap it up. So, what non-Marvel movies are we looking forward to in 2020, 2021, and beyond? What are we looking forward to? Sal, what are you looking forward
Honestly, man, like, I don't even know if it's announced, but the way that they rolled out Bloodshot, I hope they come out with Ninjak, man. Ninjak has always been, like, one of my favorite characters in the Valiant universe. I hope they come out with that shit, but man, I don't even know what's in the works, to be honest, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm so like lost in what's supposed to be coming out. Everything's been put.
Especially now, because with the whole COVID, that they shut down so many shit that was like in production or like even in the works, like to come up, and like it's like, no, never mind, we're done. Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm super psyched about the Snyder Cut. I hope they come out with like some other shit. I'm looking forward to season 2 of Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol was awesome. The season 3 of Titans, just because they fucking introduced Isai Morales as fucking Deathstroke, and I feel like the Judas contract is going to be season 3. So if they pull that off, man, that's going to be fucking awesome. But other than that, I really don't have any news on new shit that's coming out, man.
I'm looking forward to the new Bond, which is going to wrap up the Daniel Craig stuff, which was, I mean, if you look at Bond movies, it was a soft reboot by bringing back the first story and showing him becoming Bond. Looking forward to that quite a bit because I'm a huge Bond guy. I love them all. And
I've seen your stories. I've seen you watching them, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm particularly a fan of the Daniel Craig stuff. I think he nailed that role. They took out.
Is Idris Elba a rumor, or is that happening?
No, it's not happening. He said no.
Okay. No.
All right.
Yeah, he already said
that. I'm also a huge fan, and this is going to come. This is a show in and of itself. The greatest movie.
Sorry to interrupt you, but have you seen Luther?
Greatest franchise of all time. Fast and Furious.
What was that?
Furious.
Just curious.
Fast and the Furious.
Fast and the Furious.
Franchise the whole time.
Okay, we're moving on.
It's
been a great episode today. Thank you, guy.
You're never let down. You know what you're going to get every time.
Dude.
You can argue Star Wars, but then you have people that shit on 3 movies in the middle of Star Wars.
Dude, it's like anybody shit on any of the Fast and the Furious?
Yes.
Movies, so? Like,
yes.
About it. Ooh, which one?
I'm looking forward to F9.
3,
Dude,
4,
dude, no.
5.
No.
3 was Tokyo Drift. What are you talking about?
Bow Wow. What else do I gotta say?
No, Tokyo Drift, dog. What else do I gotta say?
Too Fast, Too Furious is better than that one. If we're gonna diverge, thanks Thomas for bringing some other shit.
We're
you know what?
Another hour, man.
James Wan. Did you ever see Better Luck Tomorrow?
No.
Oh, you guys got to see Better Luck Tomorrow. Amazing movie. James Wan directed it.
Oh god. This is why I can't do a podcast with Thomas.
With the actor. But Han is the greatest part of any Fast and the Furious movies, and he's coming back in F9.
Who is this?
Oh shit! Really?
Han. Oh, okay.
Han is coming back.
He's back in F9.
He was also in Code 8, whatever the
Hey,
fuck that movie was.
The transporter couldn't kill Han, so he's back, dude.
I'm looking forward to any John Wick movies.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of mindless popcorn action, suspense spy movies. I enjoy deeper films, but like I just want to. I like the spectacle. Hotel Artemis, I loved.
I love Hotel Artemis, dude. I just saw that on Prime like 2 days ago, dude. That fucking movie was awesome.
Dave Bautista playing a Mexican.
Dave Bautista as a Mexican kind of pissed me off.
One at a time.
He pulled it off. Okay. No. Okay, so Dave Bautista is a Mexican in Hotel Artemis. His accent, that was the only thing, his accent, because he tried to pull off the LA accent, but it's like, dude, I know people from LA that aren't Mexican and they pull off the accent way better than you. So I was a little mad at that. Yeah, but Jodie Foster fucking handled that movie. She was fucking dope. Zachary Quinn, Jeff Goldblum. I didn't know Jeff Goldblum was in there. So
Charlie Day.
Yeah, Charlie Day was a fucking badass. But
have you not seen it? Watch it just for Dave Bautista.
It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll watch it tomorrow.
Watch for David Bautista to say Carnal.
Yeah.
When he says that shit, that's when he lost me. When he said that shit, I was like, all right, this guy, fuck you, Dave Bautista. You fucking.
You can imagine Hotel Artemis is the same universe as John Wick.
Okay.
It's a secret
imagine the hotel that John Wick went to. That's Hotel Artemis.
That's how I looked at it. So essentially, there's some interesting movies coming back, but I've lost track because everything's being pushed.
So
I lost track of everything.
Yeah.
There's probably about 3 movies, maybe 4, that I'm looking forward to. One, and thank you, Thomas, for putting me onto John Wick, because I binge watched the last time we spoke when you were still working at Samurai Comics. I binge watched all 3 John Wicks. And I hate myself for doing that because now I'm still looking forward to John Wick 4. Spoiler alert.
You want the fourth
fuck,
one.
Man.
Yeah.
I saw 1, 2, and 3 back to back.
The fourth one, yeah.
I like to think that Common's still alive.
Which one?
I like to think that Common was still alive.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see Common return.
Spoiler alert.
I think he died, right?
No, he didn't die. Nah.
He didn't die, right?
Yeah.
He'll come back. Matrix 4, which is also coming out the same day, supposedly, as John Wick 3.
I don't know how I feel about that one, guys. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about the Matrix 4. Because the third Matrix, like, that was it, dude. Like, that ended it. Like,
the third Matrix
Smith is gone. That's it, dude. Like,
we could do a whole nother fucking 3 hours on Matrix alone, so let's not get into that.
they have a lot of official canon that because of the video game that the Wachowski brothers / sisters wrote. That is official canon expanded.
I love how you were politically correct and said brothers / sisters.
The Wachowski days. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Days?
The Wachowski homies.
Yeah, so there's a lot of official canon that continues that story.
So I'm looking forward to it.
I loved Enter the Matrix, that video game, Enter the Matrix.
Well, that's what it was. That's what he was talking about. That's part of the arc.
The MMORPG that like you find out what happened with Neo, you find out what happened with Trinity, you find out what happened with Morpheus. Like they have official canon. It just counts.
Yeah.
So
what was cool is that you could hack that game. Like you could literally like hack the game and like you could go into I love that shit, dude. I had that shit. I had that game. That's what I'm saying. I love that game.
So so the Matrix 4, and what else?
I want to see what they do with Black Adam. So
shout out to Broken Skull IPA. Shout out to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Segundo.
Yeah, El Segundo, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I feel like I should have 2 of these and like be like banging them together and like slamming them.
Why didn't you?
I didn't.
You dropped the ball.
They're not Coors Lights. Because they're not Coors Lights.
I didn't mention that because I thought we were doing non-DC, Marvel.
But
yes, I'm very excited. I'm assuming that movie is going to do something similar to Wonder Woman and take place for the majority of it in the past.
Yeah.
So we can kind of get him as, he was trying to help his people. He's not really a bad guy.
He's going to be the anti-hero.
And then it shows up in the present because they
Yeah.
obviously mentioned him in Shazam.
Yep.
They even kind of showed a silhouette of him.
Mm.
But I think because he was great as a hero in Justice Society of America when he decided to not be a dick. He's one of those characters that straddles the line of he's a bad guy helping his people or a good guy helping everybody else.
That was the thing.
And
Like
part of what
we
I
always
part
saw
of
it
forward
as
to.
him being. I'm sorry, Joe.
Sure.
But the thing was with him, he always did it for Kadak. Like it was never
Yes.
about him. It was never about Black Adam. It was never about his power.
Yeah.
It was always about him stopping from his people to be oppressed. That was the thing. And it was always him. That's kind of like what made him the anti-hero, is because he put his people first. But the shit that he did, it was kind of like Stalin-like, because he fucking did it for his people, but he was being seen as being the bad guy because he would kill people. He would be the asshole that would fucking put people in like all this death and shit. So it's like you said, it's a great anti-hero movie to see him become, this kid who becomes, all this all powerful, but at the end of the day, like we see him as a bad guy.
So part of what I'm looking forward to is, the story of Black Adam is very in depth, but much to Thomas's point earlier about the Fast and the Furious series, not 100%, but The Rock as, Black Adam,
the new America's action hero.
Yeah, he's one of those characters. He's one of those people that once in a while I go, okay, what was that? Skyscraper? Yeah. Rampage? Meh. Oh, he's playing Black Adam? Wait. Now you got my attention.
Hold up.
Now you got my attention. What's going on here? And that is shit like that gets me, okay, you know what? I want to see what happens with this. I want to see where you're going with this. And what's interesting is they locked them in super early.
Yeah.
They locked them in like 2013, 14.
Before even Shazam came out.
Yeah,
but Shazam came out, he was cast already as Black Adam.
So the fact that they went out of their way to lock him in with that role, regardless of the storyline, I'm sold. Like you picked one of the top actors of right now of this generation. Forget how good or bad he is when it comes to producing movies. And when it comes to raking in money for movies, he's gonna do it.
Yep. And you know what I'm excited about? I'm not excited about him staring down face to face with Zachary Levi. I am excited about him staring down face to face with Henry Cavil.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Even though technically he would win against Superman, so
technically it's magic. So yes,
there's a
chance
technically he win.
Come out on top before, but seeing those two, I was always iffy about Zachary Levi. I changed my opinion after I saw the movie. It did bum me out that he did a much more padded suit than other characters. I mean, if you look at someone like Chris Evans, who put on a ton of legit muscle weight to be Captain America, and Zachary Levi kind of went, hey, I'm not going to do that. Just give me a padded suit. I felt that there were scenes where it looked like a padded suit.
It wasn't, but you know what? I recently watched Shazam, and at home, where I watched it in the movie theaters.
It wasn't too much, huh?
It wasn't to the point where it was like, oh, that looks very bad. It looks very cheesy.
No, it was still a very good movie.
Yeah.
But just seeing it out of the suit, where even like you look at Ben Affleck in Batman vs Superman or Justice League, you're like, yo, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck put on that money. Like they showed the scenes of shirtless Ben Affleck doing pull-ups with the chain and the weights hanging, and like that was all legit. Like
I can do that.
I can appreciate that. And Zachary Levi from the get-go was just like, nope. So seeing him standing toe-to-toe in a Justice League versus Legion of Doom style movie against Henry Cavill, I'm more excited about.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like Zachary Levi, I think the other two, that other matchup is more impressive to me as a film viewer.
Mm-hmm.
Not to sidetrack from what you were saying just now, but that's like one of the great things that I loved about that movie is the part where he is working out, because I felt like he realized like, yo, I'm not going to beat this guy being myself at where I'm at right now. I have to fucking get stronger. Like I have to do everything that I can humanly possible because this motherfucker's an alien I have to do everything that I can to be able to fucking beat his ass. So I'm gonna fucking push myself to the limit.
Yeah.
And like when they showed his workouts in that movie, like that's what I felt like. It was like that was like how I saw it. I was like, oh, this motherfucker's like pushing himself to the fucking.
Let me be honest.
Like,
when he was doing the workouts, as a person who knows those workouts and things like that, there's certain times
that doesn't count, dude.
where I'm like,
shut up, that doesn't count to the average
my man,
person.
you're squatting a ton. That is literally a ton. Like, stop. There's no way you're doing that.
Don't be jealous,
bro. Yeah, right. It's because you're not.
I'm speaking from
you're not Bruce Wayne. You don't have all that money.
No, but that's my point. No, that's perfect. That's my point. That regardless of how much money he has and how much he to your point exactly, he was doing the basic workouts that most people do. Like, he has the money for the equipment. He has the money for all this shit, but he's doing general squats. He's doing pull-ups. He's doing he's doing dumbbell presses, all that shit. Like, I was like, damn, that's awesome. Like, that's what it is. That's how you fucking get yourself, one, mentally psyched, because that's also part of it, and two, physically in the right position.
A lot of people don't even realize that Bruce Wayne invented CrossFit.
True.
He invented MMA. Before Bruce Lee. He invented MMA before Bruce Lee.
You know what's crazy? It's the way that the comics dive into like the way that the martial arts that Bruce Wayne trained. It's just like so fucking crazy. It's like so insane if you like look at so much of the backstories from like the Batman stories, like what he did to like become Batman. Like, it's so fucking insane. Like, you would never, like, no fucking person could ever do that shit. Like, nobody could spend a fucking 12 days in a fucking pit fighting off fucking 12 enemies at a time.
Dude, what does he have? Like a week? He trained his body to go a week without sleep or some shit like that?
Right? Yes. Or he could spend a week underwater with like two seconds of blood or air. That's all he needed to survive for a week underwater.
Like, that's what it's like now working from home. I feel like I'm getting that strong.
All right. So I had a good time. We're all looking forward to now we're all. At first, Mr. Thomas wasn't on board at first, but now that we've had this conversation, he's looking forward to the Snyder Cut.
Absolutely.
Any last comments you guys have, Thomas? Anything you last want to just throw out there? Another 2 hours of content you wanted to say?
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for James Gunn's Suicide Squad 2.
Yes.
If we're talking about these universe, very excited about that. I'm really hoping they bring back gosh, now I've had so much to drink tonight. The fire guy from Suicide Squad.
Inferno.
I liked him as a character. Like, he's magical, so like maybe he could just I like Joel Kinnaman as Flag. I think he's a really cool actor. I'm hoping I think I heard he's probably signed. But yeah, I'm very, very excited about that.
So
for DC.
The one actor that I was pretty shocked about was Pete Davidson.
Yeah, and he's playing he's playing an odd character from from Deep Cult. I think it's called Savant, who's supposed to be this really rich. And again, I think that we have not been told everything. I think there's a lot of misinformation potentially.
Yeah.
But he's allegedly playing a character named Savant, who's just like this rich douchebag guy who's been given everything, who's bored, who decides to become like an assassin for hire because he's really good at everything and bored. So we'll see.
Let's see.
We'll see. But I'm excited. That's probably other than the Snyder Cut, I'm most excited for that. But boy, would I be excited if I heard that Ben Affleck is officially coming back. I'd be very excited for that because I think he's great.
Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, bro.
Affleck, dude.
Sal, what's your final thoughts on what we discussed?
No, totally agree. I hope Affleck comes back, man. I loved your trilogy. I'm glad that Snyder Cut came back. I really am hoping, as a Joker fan personally, as a character Joker fan, I hope Ayer's cut gets released because I felt like we got a disservice of not seeing Leto's Joker
Mm-hmm.
and just not see a phenomenal actor like that, like be able to like portray the role that he wanted to be.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a disservice to us, man. That's to us as fans, as people watching. I feel like that really is a disservice. I hope, I really hope that the DC universe shapes out like the way they want it to be, whatever direction that they're going in.
I think they're riding their ship.
Yeah,
Course.
I
Whatever
think
they're
they are,
doing.
and I just really hope everything turns out for the great for them, man. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a Marvel hater. I love the Marvel universe, but I've always been a DC fan
Mm-hmm.
from the comics, so like, I just want that shit to pan out. Other than that, man, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to the comics that they're dropping. Three Jokers is coming out soon. I know we didn't talk a lot about like actual books, but Three Jokers is coming out soon, so I'm looking forward to that. I pre-ordered everything that they have, and yeah, man, I'm just fucking psyched. Let's see what happens, man.
So yeah, I've been HBO Max has got my attention right now. I have it on my TV. I'm about to just sit there and just go through all the DC stuff and then check out what else they got. But that's really got my attention. Right now, I'm just kind of like rewatching a lot of the old DC movies. Not jokingly, but I told Thomas the other day that I rewatched Green Lantern.
The first one with
With Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
And you know what?
Watch
That was
director's cut. The director's cut is a lot better than the first one.
it's one of those things where I didn't think Ryan Reynolds was a bad actor, but was it Jeremy Strong? What's his name? Jeremy Strong?
Mark Strong.
Mhm.
Huh?
Mark Strong.
Mark Strong. Mark Strong as Sinestro was spot on casting.
He was
Oh,
great.
yeah.
He
It
was
was
great.
a great.
They just
yeah.
didn't understand what his powers did. They didn't understand Green Lantern. That was the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know,
They
Mark,
went too
Mark
much with the
Strong.
comic kind of thing, but like, yeah, that could have been a great movie, but they dropped the ball on that one.
But you know, along with that, we talked about the Green Lantern Corps coming to HBO as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
80th anniversary next week, I think, right? Or this week?
Yep.
I don't know when it was. Yeah.
So I'm looking
80
forward to
years with Green
the
Lantern.
TV show, whatever they're going to do with it. There's a lot of stuff coming out that I like the way the AT&T, Warner Brothers, DC, the acronym group is going. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. And you know, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of content for us to discuss, both Marvel and DC in the future. So I'm looking forward to reconnecting with you guys, drinking some more. Maybe the next episode we'll do a wine episode. Some Porto Rubio.
Porter wine.
There's
I never
a
had it.
lot of great nerd
Good.
content, and the big news for me at least is comics are back, Diamond's open, shops are getting their new books again, and I'm excited.
Check out Image Comics, man. Image Comics.
All
Check
right.
out Spawn.
Oh,
Hell yeah,
look at you plugging. Look at you waiting for the plug. Look at you. You're just waiting for that.
Unseen cover right there.
No,
That's
no,
it, right
sorry.
No, unfortunately, this is issue 304, but 307 will be out at
Jamie Foxx. We got to have Jamie Foxx on the next podcast.
June 24th.
I do have the equipment to do a mobile recording, so
Mr.
Yes,
Fox,
sir.
if you're out there,
all right, guys.
tag him in there, bro.
It's been a long night. It's been fun drinking with you guys,
Hashtag
nerding
salud,
out.
guys.
Stop with the salud.
Hey, hashtag salud.
Take care, guys. Have a good night. This guy.
Have a good one, guys.
fellas.
Thanks for having me.
Hey,
All right, man. Have a good night, guys. Later.
hell yeah.